Welcome, everyone. Today's Monday, February 26, 2024, and this is a regular meeting of the City of Asbury Park Planning Board. Chairwoman Kurzak, can you please call this meeting to order?
Yes, this meeting is being held in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the Coaster and Asbury Park Press by publication of the annual meeting notice and posted on the Municipal Bulletin Board and municipal website. All notices are on file with the board secretary. Official action may be taken on the following matters before this board. Fire exits are located on east and west sides of the council chambers, as well as the back of the building. I will ask everyone with a cell phone or other device to kindly silence your device for the duration of this meeting. This meeting is being recorded by APTV. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance. Sorry.
United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. How you doing?
I will now take roll call. James Bonanno.
Here.
Councilwoman Clayton.
Here.
Eric Gallipo is absent today. Jim Henry.
Here.
Mayor John Moore.
Here.
Daniel Shinameo.
Here.
Jennifer Souter.
Here.
Vice Chair Mike Goonan is absent, and Chairwoman Barbara Kurzak.
Here. All right, the first application in front of us is 614 Cookman. Well, the notices are okay? All right.
Yes, we're just proposing to have two signs put onto our 614 Cookman establishment. One is a 18-foot by 16-inch acrylic and aluminum sign. It says Asbury Park Brewery.
Excuse me for interrupting. Your name, sir?
Brian Durant.
Are you part of the application?
Yes.
And if you're going to speak, you got to be sworn in first.
Okay.
Please raise your right hand. Solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony about the given this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Please state your name for the record and spell.
Brian Durand, Brian Durand.
Pardon my interruption. Thank you.
Well, so the above that sign, there will be three lights, 65-watt lights coming back at a 45-degree angle against the wall itself. The second one is a sign called a blade sign. Old world term is actually a pub sign. It's a circular sign. It comes out about 3 feet, made out of acrylic, also in aluminum, and it just shows our logo, and it says AP Brewery.
Okay, do you want to respond to the planner's report as to what the concerns are? And
Yep. The concern that they had was the light going into the driving corridor.
all right, which item are we on in the report?
Why don't we identify the report that you're going to refer to by date and by author?
All I have is from, I don't have a report, I got this from Michelle Alonso, just asking us questions about, I guess it's section 30-61.172A, contrast between the ambient light and the vehicular cartway.
Okay. Perhaps we can use mine?
Sure.
My copy?
Sure.
What's the date of let's get both.
December 7th.
December 7th? Okay. Let's get our staff sworn in. Are you on this one? Okay. You solemnly swear testimony that you're about to give this matter with the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Please state your name for the record and your affiliation with the board.
Donna Miller, board planner.
Okay, great.
So let me, maybe I can assist here. So the applicant is proposing signage that is not only contrary to what's permitted in the CBD, but also contrary to what had been approved as part of the site plan application for 614 Cookman, the building renovation and addition. If you guys recall, the Cookman frontage has new storefronts, and then on the Lake Avenue side, there's a small addition and balconies for the upper floors. So as part of that application, there were specific conditions about signage on the Cookman Avenue side. So what they're proposing is different from was permitted under that.
Okay, because from what I recall, that it was a comprehensive plan for the whole front of the building as to what was approved. So what are we asking for that's different than that?
The one that was approved was our landlord's approval, and it was a 3-foot by 1.5-foot sign,
Okay,
which just didn't match what we had originally given to him. So then we came to zoning and said, what do we have to do? She said, put in for a zoning application to have it revised to the signs that we want.
okay, so you're speaking of only your sign,
Correct.
not the signs for the other businesses that will be in the building as well.
Correct.
So, okay, so we don't know what the other signs are going to look like yet,
To my knowledge, after speaking to the other tenants, they are not changing their signs.
but they don't have a sign.
No, they do.
No,
The other
their
ones have
name is
signs.
The approved for the site plan application.
Okay, so
Which is
those were
the-
approved.
Yeah.
Now this one wants to be different. Okay, all right,
So
so,
they're requesting 2 signs, whereas all the other tenants have 1 sign.
okay,
And then again, the size and location of the signs that they want is different than what the board had approved for the other.
okay. Can we talk about what's different about the sign that you want versus the signs that were approved?
The signs that were approved were never in our plan from day one.
Doesn't matter.
I get it.
But go ahead.
They're just, unfortunately, they're just too small. If we have it with our space, it's not going to look the correct way that we wanted it. And the other way is as you're walking down the sidewalk itself, you can see the sign coming down to know where to turn in. So they're all, and they're just a little bit bigger because our space is bigger than the other ones.
So do you have any exhibits to show the board?
Yeah, they all have.
Is this the,
Oh, from
this is the exhibit?
Okay.
Isn't this the building where we had, the owner was gonna build a blade sign?
They're saving the fitness lifestyles, right?
Yeah, I believe that lifestyle one is staying there. I'm not
Right.
positive.
So, so if you jump to, in our report on page 4, there's an image from his application that shows how they envision the sign to be applied to the building. There's some questions about that because, as you know, the building facade has some relief. Those bricks kind of point out and the others are recessed. So, we're not really sure how the sign is going to have a gap behind it. It's just going to mount, how it's actually going to mount. And then then the lighting again is going to stick out. That'll be in the right of way and probably need a.
Is that the blade sign that's over here?
Yeah. So then on, I think I've got it.
So can we stick to just go to the first one where we're saying that the sign, we're not sure how it's going to be applied, so tell us about that.
It's going to be bolted to the walls, and to her point, there is a space behind it. They put acrylic fillers behind it, so it's one solid piece going across the
Okay.
front.
So originally it was 3 feet, and now from what I understand, it says here that it's 180 inches, so that's like 15 feet.
Correct.
So
Yeah,
we're,
and if you look at page 5 of the report at the bottom, there's a image from the approved plan of how big the tenant signs are supposed to be.
oh, the tenant sign looks like it's 5 feet.
Yeah.
Is that true? 5 feet as opposed to 15 feet.
And it's supposed to hang under the, the part of the building that.
Right.
I don't know how many meetings we spent talking about that.
So that shows like 4 signs then, so are we now like, are they taking 2 spaces, the biggest space?
That I'm not certain of. So aren't you on the second floor?
Oh,
Or
on the
on the
first
ground
floor.
floor? Okay.
We're taking from, if you're looking at page 4, from that door it's inset from that, where it goes in, all the way to the left, to the end of the building.
All right, so if we look on page 5, where we have 4 signs, which ones are you taking?
Well, I guess the way that this is laid out, it would go, the way that this is laid out in page 5 is kind of not how the building is. It would be, I'm guessing that thick line is the column.
Yeah.
We still have part of our space that goes to the right of that column. So say the first window that's in there to all the way to the left.
So are there just 2 other tenant spaces?
I believe I know there's a bakery, and then there's another company going in who's supposed to be taking up the whole middle section.
Is that the ice cream guy?
Yes, Bake Bear. He's the one all the way to the right, and then there's a company supposedly going by the name of Vidya in the middle section.
So these signs now, when you see original scheme, how big are they?
5 foot by 18 inches.
5 foot. So if they're taking space for two, they're 10 feet, right? And they're proposing 15.
And again, above the cornice line, I mean, we had all these conversations about whether it should be pedestrian visible or driver visible. That's why the board had chosen for them to be under rather than on the upper part of the facade.
All right, so you're also, besides the size of the sign, you're also asking to put it in a place where the board did not approve. You're asking it to be on the building as opposed to
Correct.
underneath.
Correct.
So,
As I recall, we spent considerable amount of time on this very issue with where the location of the signs, the blade sign, the tenant sign, the lighting, the concept of whether or not it should be visible to people walking or people driving. And we ended up, as I recall, with the tenant signs under the, hanging from the overhang of the building and nothing above on the facade of the building.
That's right, the only sign that would be above the
Was the
first floor
blades.
cornice
right, the blade.
is the fitness lifestyle sign,
Right.
which the board decided
Wanted
needed to
to
be retained and
Refurbished.
refurbished so that it becomes like a landmark for the upper floors of the building. So, yeah.
The only thing with this, and I'm not trying to create a bigger issue for the building, but it's just not plausible. If you look at the picture on page 4, the road slopes up. So it goes from about 7 to 8 inches down at one point to even with the curb. We have a patio that goes in there just because you have to do it by ADA. If the sign that is proposed on page 5 was there, you're gonna hit your head on it. It's almost a moot point. It's not a patio, it's not a patio, it's just when you take the wall back,
Sorry.
well, it's just not, I mean, majority of people are gonna hit their head on it. So I don't know where these signs who came up with them, but they're just not plausible.
Is this what they proposed, or did we?
That's what you guys approved.
Right, we approve this.
Yeah.
It's 1.6 inches by 5.3.
1 foot 6 inches.
Right, I'm sorry, 1 foot 6 and 5.3. So you feel that it can't be there?
Right,
The 1.6?
we didn't propose this. This was.
I understand that, but why
Yeah,
can't
you're
it
gonna hit your head
happen?
on it. You're gonna hit your head on it.
All right, I'm going to check that.
I'm there every day. I know if you walk out and that thing is, what is it? How wide is it? And a foot by 6. The door is 7 feet. And it goes to the top, so 7 feet.
Yeah, but there's it looks like there's a transom or something above that, above the door. This is above the door.
The door isn't set, but if it's gonna come down in there, it's just where that spot is. Because again, it's the way that the road slopes up. And you can see the way the road slopes in picture 4, on page 4.
Wish we had a picture of it right now. I don't know, I'm struggling with that, because it's hard to tell. Because from the picture that you have here, I'm not seeing how you could possibly hit your head. But if
Because
we
if
don't
you're-
have dimensions, it's hard to say.
For the picture that you have in your head, where it says Sacman in the third, that's where that sign would end. And unfortunately, our floor is not on ground level. It's up about another 8 inches because of the slope of the road.
But the original diagram shows the sign being, 2 feet deep, whatever,
But the sign,
and it's above the building, unless this is wrong.
I'm trying to pull the mode architectural plan. of the,
right, because it doesn't look like, according to this, the sign is not over the door. The sign is by the window. So if it's below the window, you're okay. So I'm not understanding how it's above the door. Are you planning on, is the sign supposed to be not centered above the windows? Is it supposed to be centered above the door? Because that's not what you depict here.
Our sign or the sign that's already there?
Right here.
That's going to be above our entire space, in the center of our entire
Okay,
space.
so why can't it be where the board wanted it?
Lower?
Yes,
I mean.
in the window, like all the rest of the signs that we approved.
So
1 foot, 1.6 feet.
So the same size sign, just lower? It's not on the brick facade?
The same height, 1.6, like
Right.
we
the sign they're
approved.
proposing is the same height as the sign that was approved, but it's 3 times as long.
Well, but the
but
length is
they're
a whole
using
other
two
issue that the board will
storefronts,
have to speak
so
about.
maybe it's-
1.6, that's fine, yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So it can be in the window. Without,
let's see,
nobody will
so-
hit their head.
Yeah, that's,
Hang on, so let me just clarify for the record. So the original architectural plans that the board approved by Mode that shows the building elevation, which is in my report, has a dimension of, from the sidewalk level to the bottom of the sign is 8 foot 2 inches.
Okay,
So I don't think anybody's hitting their head.
okay. Cool.
I mean, yeah, we can, if you want it in that, where that space is, sure, we can definitely move it down there.
So I understand for resolution purposes.
Mhm.
We're gonna move this down under here.
Well, I'm
Or that's what the
suggesting,
proposal is.
the board has to chime in,
This down in here, move it down in this.
because that will be closer to what was approved.
Okay.
Back underneath, right, where the approved signs
Okay,
are
I just wanna
located.
make sure I understand what's going on.
The question to the board is that, is 15 feet something that they find acceptable? Yvonne?
It seems out of scale.
It seems what?
It seems out of scale of all of the other signs. And the other signs are each 5 feet.
They each are approved for 5 feet 3 inches.
What about 10 feet, since it's double the space? I think that might be a compromise.
I think that that's more reasonable. I don't know what the other
Compromise, that's
planning board
fine.
members feel.
So instead of going 15 down to 10, I don't think that that's earth-shattering. We could definitely compromise with that.
Can you scale the, we're talking about scaling the horizontal length back by a third. How about the vertical? Can you put that back into scale? In other words, I don't know what your dimensions are for your,
The dimensions for
Yeah,
that,
the sign that they have proposed is the same height.
it's the same height.
As what was approved. So he doesn't have to shrink that either. He
Okay.
just needs to
Just-
shorten the length
just,
and then change its
and put the
location.
location to where the original
Right.
sign was. Instead of having two, you have one probably centered between the, your tenant door and the eastern corner of the building.
We can definitely work with that. That's fine.
So I'm sorry. So we're just talking about the flat sign, right?
Yes, at this,
At this point.
So then they're requesting, so then you wouldn't need the gooseneck lights over on the facade. So we wouldn't need the lighting.
Well, it's still,
We're gonna put lights in the soffit, is it gonna be recessed back? You know, how deep is that from the storefront?
it's,
I mean, personally, I have no problem with it, I don't know why
It-
we were putting them under there anyhow. I mean, if you walk down Cookman, everybody's got different signs anyway, bigger than what was proposed. So personally, I've got no problem.
well, when this original signage was discussed, it was the entire facade of that building.
No,
To
no,
make
I was
it-
here, I was here for it. I
Okay.
didn't have a problem with it then, or whatever. If you walk down Cookman, everybody's got a different sign, much larger than
Right.
this.
But there are different,
These are all on the same building.
yeah, so that's the thing. Some of them, the scale of the facade, some of the buildings are so badly renovated, I don't want to say badly, have been renovated so far from their original architectural,
You want them to be 5 feet?
style. It kind of is, yeah, whatever.
They can't. I mean, like, they have
But the
enough.
board felt that the building, I think, is more important than the signage in this case.
but to your point, and you back there, sir, is that it is going to be now inside the walkway, which makes it considerably difficult to see it because now, from where it comes out, it's 5 feet. From where the sidewalk starts, from where our sidewalk and our step-up is, it's 5 feet back.
No, but how deep is that, soffit or the overhang?
5 feet.
5 feet?
Our front door is 5 feet
So
back.
are you suggesting to put lighting in the soffit off to the side?
There is lighting in the soffit.
There is lighting, so the shine will be lit?
I'm just trying to think about how they have it. It's just probably just to circle, well, because there's also a return in there for HVAC, so. I mean, I'm sure we can make it work if that's what we need to do, but that was the whole idea of having it on the outside of the building, so it's easier to see instead of being back 5 feet inside of it. It's not a vestibule, but for lack of a better term.
Except that the soffit comes out 5 feet, so you're already back 5 feet with the facade of the building.
Right.
I don't think that's where the sign is.
No.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to look at.
Yeah, I'm
they're-
confused
it's
as
at
to
the
what's
edge.
going on,
Yeah,
where it
it's at
is.
the edge of the
Drop it down.
overhang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's not inside, it's at the edge of the
Okay,
overhang.
so it's just 5 feet from, it's on the 5 foot line. Is that what we're gonna say?
It's on the
It's at
building
the-
line.
At the building.
line.
Yeah,
It's at the canopy line.
building line.
Street line,
okay.
the
Right.
building is set in 5 feet. The sign is out by the sidewalk.
Right, like all the rest of the
Not under
signs
the
will be.
recess.
Okay.
Okay.
This is the 5 foot line from
No,
here to here. That's what he's looking for. This is 5.
because they're changing they're taking the storefront out and changing it.
Okay.
Yeah, so don't.
Right,
even-
so the new design is all straight across, right?
Right.
It's all straight across, so nothing is indented.
Well, it is indented, but it's straight across instead of it's all boxed in now. I think those old storefronts are gone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the old storefronts actually were kind of angled in, remember?
Right.
They weren't straight across.
Right.
Now they're going to be straight across and
Okay.
uniform 5 feet back from the street line.
Okay.
So there's just this 5 foot canopy now.
Okay.
The signs are going to be at the edge of the canopy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at the architectural plans that will actually be, the recessed lighting in that canopy will be behind where the sign is hanging down. So I don't know if we want to recommend an internally illuminated sign so that they can have lighting, or just rely on, there's street lights, there's all kinds of light on Cookman.
So can you refresh the board's memory as to what lighting we did approve for the front, or did we not approve any for the front?
There's only recessed lights in the canopy to sort of just illuminate the sidewalk area in front of the building and the entrances to the building. There's
And
nothing
so-
on the front of the building.
And the signs are not lit?
We didn't restrict them from internally illuminating the signs. But there's no external lighting of the signs proposed. And that, is approved.
So he's gonna illuminate the sign.
I mean, we'd have to get a different type of sign. And if we're not gonna, ideally, that's why we have it up above that thing, so we could have the goose lights coming down, but if it's not going to be permitted, I'm sure we can figure out a way of making it work. I'm just trying to see about, so you're talking an internally lit sign?
Right.
Illuminated.
Yeah, I think you need it to be illuminated somehow.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of one on Cookman that might be similar, and nothing is coming to mind, sorry.
But aren't there other ones on Cookman who have the goose lights?
Yep, but
That's
they haven't
foolish.
come to for site plan approval for a major building renovation.
Well, it still shows precedent that they're there.
Right, because they were permitted under a different premise. So buildings are not historic, or maybe because they are historic. We don't know
Site
the,
specific,
yeah.
Okay.
each application has to stand on its own.
Some buildings have signage that are just letters, right, stuck to the facade,
Mhm.
not an actual box sign or something.
All right.
About the blaze sign?
Well, let's solve this illumination question. Does the board feel like the sign needs to be illuminated?
I think that would be more for the applicant. I would think that you'd want your sign illuminated somehow, so
It
people
would
can
have-
see it in the
If
evening.
it can't be
I would
done through
think
goose
so.
lights, it has to be illuminated somehow.
Yeah, I
so
think
people
it
can
has
see
to be
right?
illuminated, or it should be. Somehow. But I would be concerned that approving anything that has to do with a gooseneck is like, okay, so what happens to the rest of the building? You need conformance here. You need it to look bright.
I understand that. The only problem is it's not going to be. This site is not what it's gonna look like, the building at the end, it's not. The Baked Bear is definitely keeping their sign. Vidya is taking this whole part across the middle, to my knowledge, so there won't be two other signs, it will be one. So that's gonna be different from the get-go.
That's okay. The number of tenants and how the storefronts are divided was not a condition of the approval.
No, we were saying they were talking about uniformity, so that, I mean,
Of the signage.
whatever the picture would be there is gonna be different regardless.
Well, we want-
Well, they'll have to come back. They'll have to come to us
Fair enough.
to see if we'll approve it.
So now, with that in mind, are we gonna hold, when the other tenant comes, are we gonna hold them to have the same design of the sign that they're having for the brewery?
It's up to you. I mean, I don't know what the other tenants are proposing. Haven't been given any applications from them.
All right, so we're at 18 inches and 10 feet is our proposal. Have it hanging below as all the rest of the signs have been approved, with some sort of illumination that you're going to put on the sign.
And centered between in your
And
tenant.
centered wherever your end-to-end is. Okay. So, I guess that if we have nothing else there, then we have to talk about the blade sign, right? Because the blade sign's an addition?
Correct.
Okay. Let's talk about that.
So the blade sign was going to come out over our, I guess you'd call it our eastern section. It's a 3-foot in diameter sign. It's made out of aluminum and acrylic with our logo, and it just shines through, and it just says, I think the picture you guys have is on, where is it?
Yeah, we have it on here. Right here.
Yeah, I have a bigger one, so it's not here. Sorry. That's what it looks like. So as you're going down on the street, you can see what you're doing as you're walking down the street. And just a little history lesson, it's a historical type of a beer sign. They're called pub signs from back in the Middle Ages, so we kind of want that same feel.
So that's is that illuminated?
Correct.
Okay, so the blade sign, it's not going to shine to have a problem with the vehicle traffic?
No, ma'am, it goes, I guess you would say it goes north-south instead of east-west, so it's not going to go in the driving corridor.
Okay. Okay.
How is that affected by the soffit? Is it blocked from below?
No, it'll be above the soffit.
I understand it'd be above the soffit, but from somebody walking on the sidewalk, will they be able to see it? Is the soffit in the way?
Oh, no. On that portion of the wall, it's kind of a flat, I don't know if it's marble, but it's a flat rock wall.
But it's extending out,
Yes, it's going to extend it.
so the white part is illuminated.
Correct.
So it shines up and down Cookman.
Correct.
So it does go east-west, right?
Yeah, it's just,
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And then is that in the city right of way?
yeah.
All right, so there's something that they have to request permission from the city.
Any encroachments?
Right, So have you received that yet, or is that something you have to go for now?
I guess we have to go for that.
Okay, so you need permission from the city that you can go into the right-of-way if this board approves that. Is 36 inches a normal extension that we allow for a blade sign? 36 inches?
It's 36 inches
From the-
diameter, or is that its full extension?
At its full extension it is.
All
So
right,
from
so-
the wall to the last part, it's 36 inches, correct.
But it's round, so it's, fairly
Well,
uniform.
it has all these though.
So projecting signs are allowed to stick out 12 inches.
12 inches?
Or, I'm sorry, 12 square feet. So you can be 1 foot by 12 feet like a banner, or 3 by 4.
All right, 3 by 4, this is a 3 by 3,
Correct.
so that's within the limits. All right, I don't know if any of the board members have any concerns about the blade sign?
I don't really have a problem with it because of the other blade, like because it's the historically that we have on the other side.
Mhm.
I think one issue might be if all the tenants come back for blade sign.
That's up, to,
You know.
that'll be up to us.
You know they're going to.
Yeah. No other blade signs along Cookman other than that same building.
Right, there aren't,
There's no-
there aren't any blade signs down Cookman in that area, I don't believe.
Well, the Coast has a sign that
Theirs
The
is
gallery
more
does.
closely resembles what we approved,
The gallery has one.
where it's a sign that hangs down under the canopy. There's a sort of inset from, because they have like a recessed door. Their toast sign hangs right below. I was looking at it. It's one of two illuminated signs on Cookman. They have a cornice that projects. The second floor sticks out because it has those bays on the building. So Toast has an illuminated sign that hangs underneath that.
Yeah, but it comes out past the corners. Here's a picture, don't
I got it. I just have to zoom in.
it? It passes, it's way out there.
From the doors, it's underneath the cornice though.
No, but it's not, the cornice doesn't cover.
Oh, I see what you're saying, yeah.
It's totally out on the side.
Oh, and you know what, this is an old one. Because they changed the sign. There it is. There it is. So their sign is in line with the building, the second floor and the cornice above stick out past it.
Do any of the board members have any concerns about the sign,
Illuminated sign.
the blade sign?
The only thing I would say is how bright is it? That's the only concern I would have. I don't have a big problem with the blade sign,
That's restricted by ordinance too, so they would
I
have to
imagine.
comply.
so I don't see too much of an issue with it.
It's a 65 watt bulb, so it's more ambient light than anything else.
Perfect.
Anybody else have any concerns about it?
It's 65 watt or 365 watts?
It's 165.
165.
The one with the 3 was for the goosenecks.
All right, nobody has any other concerns about that? All right, is there anything else?
So, I'm sorry, so what was the,
The board doesn't seem to have concerns about the blade sign coming out. They have to get the right
at
of
the height
way.
that they're proposing?
Yeah.
Not lowering it?
Right.
Okay.
Well, does it interfere with the other blade sign? Probably not. It's at the side of the building, right?
The other blade sign is about 15 feet up, and it's
Yeah.
about
So as long as
5
it doesn't
feet tall.
interfere with the other blade sign that the board was concerned with, I don't see a problem with the height.
Okay. All right, and the only concern was the potential of illumination, and that, as long as you're within the ordinances, we're fine.
But they still need permission for the other one?
Yes. Yeah, no matter what, you need
Yeah, they have to
permission
get a
for
sign
right of way.
permit.
And are we going to require photometrics so that the engineer can review as to whether or not the lighting in total is compliant with the...
No, there would just be a specification as part of their sign permit
Okay,
application, and Mary Ann would check that against the regs.
okay.
All right, so,
All right, so we got projecting sign. We're gonna change the location. We're gonna reduce the size, but they're gonna get 2 signs. Okay. I think those
we're going to have the blade, and we're going to have the proposed sign, but the proposed sign is going to be 10 feet as opposed to 15, and it's going to be 18 inches as it was originally requested, and it's going to be below the cornice,
no goosenecks.
where all the rest of the signs were approved.
And they would have to get permission for encroachment in the right of way from the.
That's right.
neighbor.
That's right. Does, do you have anything else?
I think
Okay,
that's it.
all right. Does the board have any other questions that they would like to ask? Any other concerns? Okay, can I get a motion to open it up to the public for any questions for these witnesses?
So moved.
Nobody from the public? All right, let's close that. Any comments? Let's open up for comments from the public.
So moved.
Second.
Motion to close.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Any comments from the planning board members about this?
I just hope the 2 signs will be the same material, they say.
Either black acrylic with, black aluminum with acrylic for the clear part to see the lights.
Clear or white?
It's like that kind of off-white where that way it can illuminate through.
All right. Jack, you want to go over the,
Yeah, there's a motion to be made to approve two signs. One, the horizontal sign, 1.5 foot high, 10 feet long, centered under the soffit, can be illuminated at the, as long as it complies with the city codes for illumination by the applicant. The second sign is the blade sign that's extending current plans 3 feet out, which is permitted. It doesn't exceed the square foot sign for that. Illumination must meet the city code, city code, and since it extends into the city right away, it will be subject to approval by the mayor and council of that extension. And there'll be no gooseneck lighting because it's no longer necessary. The application will be so amended.
all right, can I get a motion to approve?
Before you do that,
Go
Bob.
ahead.
I just looked at the exhibit from Northeast Sign. The sign itself is 36 inches in diameter, but it does not show the distance that it projects out from the wall. Now,
It was, go ahead.
okay, I was going to ask, what's that dimension?
Well, that was, we had asked, and they said it was 36 from the wall.
It's on the detail, on the lower left side.
It's really small.
36 inch out,
Yeah,
36
but-
down.
Okay.
Yeah, they're saying it's 36 out.
Attaches.
From the wall.
Stem.
Oh, 36.
So that's what I was asking,
Right.
is the diameter 36 inches? Or is it the
That's-
total?
That's not what this
projection?
shows. Correct, you're right.
I believe it's 36 inches from the wall and 36 inches around, but that can't be possible.
Well, all right, Jack, we're going to need to put that in the resolution that it's 36 inches from the wall.
Okay.
From the wall, no, we're approving 36 inches from the
We
wall.
extend 36 inches.
Into the right of way.
Building facade,
Yes.
and then 36 by 36.
Yes.
I got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right, can I get a motion to approve this application with the recommendations that were just put forth?
So moved.
Okay?
James Bonanno?
Yes.
Councilwoman Clayton? Jim Henry?
Yes.
Mayor John Moore?
Yes.
Daniel Shinameo?
Yes.
Jennifer Souter?
Yes.
Chairwoman Barbara Kurzak?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I can have my report back.
Oh, yeah.
All right, our next application is 900 Madison Avenue.
Notices are in order, we have jurisdiction.
Excellent.
He may be the planner, engineer for
The substitute?
Yeah.
Because they have conflict.
He's a substitute.
Yes,
Alternate, whatever. it's
continues. Yes.
For the record, John Clayton is recused from this matter.
Correct.
Good evening. I'm Andrew Karras, on behalf of the applicant, Den Holtz Acquisition LLC.
Good evening.
If I could just briefly go through the purpose of this application tonight, and then we'll get right to testimony. As the board may or may not recall, back in 2023, there was a resolution that had been adopted by the planning board, preliminary and final site plan approval for this particular site. It's 900-901 Madison Avenue, Block 603, lots 3 to 9, and Block 607, Lot 8. The original approval,
Did you say 23?
no, 607, Lot
No, the year.
2023. Oh, I'm sorry, 2020. I apologize, 2020.
No, I thought maybe it was me.
No, you're right.
I'm sorry for the interruption.
Thank you for that correction. 2020. As the board may recall, an application had been approved for a 2 residential mixed-use building, providing for 125, I believe, apartment units. The area and the zone is the Springwood Avenue redevelopment area. It's the gateway zone. It's a big lot, 73,500 square feet. The reason that we're here tonight is for an amendment to that approval. Looking at what the applicant is seeking, it's relatively minor when you take into account the entire scope of what had been approved with the original application. Height's going to be a little bit more, units are going to be shuffled a little bit in terms of where the affordable units are going to be going. As the board may recall, there's a 20% affordable component to this application which is satisfied with these plans and have been satisfied previously. What I'll be doing is I'll be calling 3 witnesses to testify tonight, my engineer, my architect, and also a landscape architect. The board has any questions before we get started? Otherwise, I'll get started with testimony.
Since the board composition has changed in the last 4 years, I'm assuming we're gonna have everybody eligible to vote on this.
That is correct.
Yeah, you don't have any objection.
No objection.
So,
And what I'll do, as the witnesses come up, we'll provide some background in
bring them
terms
up
of
bring them up.
what was approved and then go through what the revisions are. So we can start off, our engineer, Mark.
We're gonna hook in with your computer.
Your own computer.
While we're waiting, I'll get my staff sworn in. Please raise your right hand, solemnly swear. To affirm the testimony I've given this matter with the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Please state your names for the records and your affiliation with the board.
Donna Miller, board planner.
Robert Euro, board engineer.
Thank you.
Check. If we can have them sworn.
So please raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony I've given this matter with the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Okay, please state your name for the record and spell it for us.
My name is Mark, M-A-R-K, Zelina, Z-E-L-I-N-A. I'm a licensed professional engineer and planner in the state of New Jersey. I have a Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering from Lafayette College. I have been practicing civil engineering and planning throughout the state of New Jersey, I dare say for 40 years, and have testified before numerous boards across the state, although I, for the record, have never
Your license is in
testified.
good standing currently?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Mark, what I'm going to have you do, first I'm going to have you identify the plans that you prepared relative to this application and to its application, and then we'll get into those plans, the original approvals, and then what was revised. What we have up on the screen there, are those the plans that you prepared relative to this particular application?
Yes, that particular plan is a rendering, an aerial photograph with the plans overlaid into it that shows the 2 buildings.
All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have that marked as A1 for identification. That is an aerial rendering.
Got a date on that?
Do you have a date on that?
May 10th, 2023.
You're getting like me. All right, taking a look at what's been marked as A1 for identification. Why don't you describe what's up there on the screen?
Okay, we have an aerial photograph image of the area surrounding the 2 buildings. On the north side, we have Bangs Avenue. In the middle, we have Madison Avenue. And then to the south, we have Cookman's Avenue. Along the bottom of the screen, which is east in the direction, is Memorial Drive. You see 2 buildings on the site. What we're looking at is the first floor of what are 2 5-story buildings. On the first level of those 2 buildings is a parking garage and commercial space and some common space for the building and its amenities. The trash rooms, the lobbies and mail room and the like. You see on the, I'll say the right side between Bangs Avenue and Madison Avenue, we look at what we call 901, its address is 901 Madison, and it's Asbury Point North. It's block 603, lots 3 through 9. It's approximately 1.1 acres. What's being proposed there is a 5-story building with 84 units. Of those 84 units, 18 of them will be affordable units, and there'll be a commercial space totaling 3,600 square feet. That commercial space would all front on Memorial Drive. There is access to the parking lot in that building, both from Bangs Avenue as well as Madison Avenue. There's an entrance drive there at the hand, and there's the other entrance drive at the hand there. Both two-way access in and out on those two avenues. Within that footprint, it's not as easy to see, but I'm sure we'll get into it later, where we have, there's 3 pedestrian entrances or lobbies. There's one at the, I'm going to say northeast corner, right at the corner of Memorial Drive and Bangs Avenue. I'm sorry, there's one up north at the west side by Bangs Avenue where the hand is. And then there's a third over on Madison Avenue. There are 2 trash rooms in that building, both located near the driveways. I guess in a prior application, the trash room was located towards some residential property to the west that has since been relocated, as well as the driveway along Banks Avenue further away from that.
So that's a change. I'd just like you to just let us know what changes have you made? So you're waking, so the trash rooms being moved.
And the driveway has been relocated to the east, away from the residential properties.
Which driveway is that?
The one on Banks Avenue.
Okay. And where's the trash room moved to now?
Just below, right there where the hand is.
Okay.
You see, so it has easy access to Banks Avenue, where there is a loading zone proposed on Banks Avenue. And we do understand that we have to secure permission from the governing body to stripe that area as a loading zone.
Okay, so that's a change.
No.
Now, the striping was part of
Striping
the
was
original.
That was part of the original.
Yes.
Okay, just let us know which ones are changes.
Okay.
Where was the driveway before, further north?
Yes.
Can I ask you really, I noticed the report was dated March 2023, right? We didn't see this since 2020, or there was another change?
After you guys approved it,
There was another change, right?
is it sold? There's a change in
Ownership.
ownership or
Correct.
developer interests.
Correct.
They made changes to site as well as architecture.
Yeah.
And in 2023, it never actually came before the board
Okay.
for hearing. It,
We were working
between
on,
everything else, there were carries and
Okay.
no meeting dates that worked out and conflicts with people. So yeah, this is our first
is
first
correct.
chance.
Okay.
You actually received the packet
That's-
that had previous versions,
Yeah.
and then
That's right.
they were on hold. When they came out of hold, they then provided new
I think
plans.
that's
So
why I
somewhere you guys all have really old plans that they
yeah,
were.
these are the most current updated plans
Okay.
that are up on the screen right now.
I just asked, the reason that came to mind was because I remember the moving of the trash room and all of that. I thought that had already happened.
No,
There was an adjustment in the original approval, because it was like right next to
Right
the
on yeah,
exterior wall, and then they adjusted it, but this is a major shift.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Mark,
property-
can you,
Property owners
what's
to the west.
what's the last
that came in-
revision date on this? By the way, nice to see you, it's been 100 years.
Jennifer?
10/26/22.
Property owners to the west of this had come in and testified.
Yeah.
They had concerns about the trash room being located right next to their property,
Right.
as well as any driveway and so on down there. And this obviously has moved it much farther away than it was.
Right. Yes, I
create a
remember
much
that.
better situation for the surrounding area. All right?
Yeah, there was a slight reduction in the commercial space on this particular building, 901 Madison. Originally, there was 4,400 square feet. It's being reduced to 3,600 square feet.
Is that because of the movement of the trash room? Why is that?
I'd have to defer to others on our team to tell you that.
I think a lot of it has to do with changes along the Memorial Drive frontage. I think the county had asked for a larger dedication of right-of-way, and because of the curve, really kind of shifted things.
Because now this is gonna be the new firehouse across the street, were there any changes who's the firehouse right across the street?
No, the train station. That's a
No,
train
it's
station.
not one train
No, it's the
station.
fire department.
It's
That's the
firehouse.
firehouse.
We're in the middle of building a firehouse there.
Oh, sorry. Here's what-
I don't know, is that doing anything to Memorial Drive, changing
It's lower
Parks.
any?
It's lower prices.
We've had extensive discussions with the county about this and have secured their approval on the Memorial Drive frontage and the improvements that are being proposed along Memorial Drive. And for the record also, there are no entrances, no vehicular entrances into these buildings from Memorial Drive. All the entrances are off of.
No, I'm just asking the question.
Right.
I would assume the county is
Because now there's gonna
familiar,
be a whole new.
right, but I would assume the county is familiar with the firehouse. And since they are giving their thumbs up to this particular application, I would assume that they're familiar with it. But there's no conflict between the two, seeing where the ingress and egress is for the two sites.
All right, so I think I understand what you want to hear from me about. We're going to move to the other building now, which is 900 Madison, Asbury Point South, Block 607, Lot 8. It's approximately just a little over half an acre in size, and it's a smaller, very similar in terms of the theme, the type of development, but it's considerably smaller. It's still a 5-story building, 4 stories of residential development over the parking lot, or the parking garage, and the commercial unit at the northeast corner there. There are 41 units proposed, 7 affordable units. Again, not many changes on this side. The change here was a slight reduction in the commercial space from 1,600 square feet to 1,400 square feet, somewhat minor. 52 parking spaces. It's a shared parking with the commercial. There's not a lot of changes going on here, so at the risk of taking up other time, I'll stop and answer any questions, but I'm not aware of other changes that have taken place on this building.
So the number of affordable units remains the same?
They've been shifted between the two buildings a little bit, but in terms of the total number of units, they are compliant and you have
Yeah,
compliance.
so what was it?
25 total, which is 20%.
20%?
Yes. I'm sorry,
Thank you.
didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's fine. And the parking is fully compliant. You get the EV credits with that. There's more than sufficient parking on site
That's correct.
with regard to the application.
I just want to clarify, it's consistent with what was approved. There was relief, I think, because there's compact spaces and there's
That
some
is correct. But the total
nuance about that, but
But
yeah.
the total number of spaces.
You haven't changed the total number of
Yeah, I
spaces.
believe the numbers that we have, it's 52 and 104 for a total of 156. 156. You take into account the EV credits we exceed.
As well as the shared parking and so on and so forth. So we're in good shape as it relates to the conformance of the parking spaces being provided.
Wasn't there a change in compact spaces? Or am I not
There are
remembering correctly?
compact spaces being proposed, but I don't believe that was a change from the.
All right, so that's no change from the prior.
That is correct.
I thought that was something I saw that was a
Let me
change.
check. I'm not sure, Andy, from who on your team might talk about the sharing of parking. That's a question we have because that was previously used, shared parking.
And we're going to continue with that.
Okay.
That's not true.
Is anybody else going to testify to
We
it?
can have the
Okay.
architect testify to it.
Let me just see. So then this is
I also
the,
see that there's a reduction in bicycle parking and storage facilities.
Yeah,
Where's that?
We're going to get into all.
So
the
that's something
details.
else? Somebody else is going to do that?
somebody else.
Okay.
Compact car parking. Okay. There we go.
What page is it?
Section? No. Hang on, I hit the wrong thing. 7.
2 and 4.
Shared parking, 8.
Page 8?
And screening parking, 9. Loading, nope, sorry. Nope, the layouts are unchanged. It's the same number of compact spaces as previous.
As before. There's also what you'd mentioned about 901. It says here that there's a relocation of a lobby and the trash room. I saw that there was a relocation of the trash room. I didn't see relocation of the lobby.
That's the architectural plan.
That's the architect. Okay, all right. Okay.
That's where all the good changes happen, the architect.
Go ahead.
I'm
New
sorry.
to the board, I just want to
Mr.
make sure
Earl.
some engineering information just gets put on the record.
Yeah, I was gonna go through both letters, but if you want to hit on that, that's fine.
If he's getting ready to step down with his testimony, let's just get that letter out of the way. It's pretty short.
Why don't we have those marked first? We'll do the T&M letter, I guess, to the board exhibit B1, and that's dated April 24, 2003, and the CCH dated March 17, 2023, we'll do B2.
Yeah, so that's April 24th, 2023. For the record, so if we go to page 4 of my letter, most of the information on the prior page is informational. And Mr. Zelina has provided testimony on some of the changes. Just to get some more information on the record, item number 1 is just a statement of fact. Item number 2, will these changes have any impacts on any of the surrounding properties?
Only in the positive effect, in the sense that we talked about the relocation of the driveway and the trash. So other than that, no, absolutely not.
Okay, item 3, you'll be taking testimony by the architect.
Correct.
Item 4,
No
we just need to
objection
see some striping for the EV vehicles.
Correct, agreed?
Item 5, just need to provide your parking calculation for the EV vehicles, because there are credits that are possibly going to be recognized, but that information needs to be shown on the plan, so everybody
Max
knows
of
what it is.
10%, or it's 10%, but it can't exceed 10%.
10% reduction.
Item 6, any damage to the existing sidewalks and curb, which I believe you're replacing anyway, will be replaced.
No issue with that.
Items 7, 8, 9, and 10 are just little statements of fact, and just make sure that any outside agency approvals that you have received get forwarded to the board so that we all know what's going on. And then just the last comment that I have is, as we are taking over this application from your prior board engineering, site engineering, as a part of a conflict, we utilized their letter dated February 19th, 2020, in which that was their third engineering review, and there were a number of changes and comments that have been addressed. But there are a number of comments that are still outstanding on the Insight prior letter dated February 19th, 2020. Will the
Those will
applicant
be complied with.
be complied with, as well as anything that was outstanding in the original
Yeah,
resolution?
keep in mind, the original resolution still remains. This is just an amendment to that resolution, so there'll be compliance.
Understood, just wanted to get it on the record, thank you very much.
And for the record, my standard amendment resolutions always say that unless anything has been altered or changed or modified, the current application, amended application, everything else in the original approval remains. Any outstanding conditions must be complied with if not already done so. So it's a continuing flow.
I just wanted to be clear, because you
Sure.
said that county approval, did that include, when did you get that approval from the county?
Can you speak to it?
Of course, I just want to make sure that you were.
All right, you know, I'm gonna
Are you
do
saying
this.
that it
I'm just-
actually included?
What I'm gonna do is,
the
I'm gonna have my
fire-
client sworn in, and he can provide some testimony.
One other thing about the EV, because are we talking about these EV charging stations? Or are we talking about these spaces being EV ready or
We'll comply with the
EV
statute.
fully ready to go?
You gotta do 5, 5, and 5. We'll comply with the statute. And I'll have my client address whether or not they're gonna go beyond, and get them all ready now.
Yeah, we prefer them to be all ready now, so when you testify, feel free to say
We'll
that.
address that.
Okay. Is that the end of this gentleman's testimony?
I'll be here.
Okay, any
Do you wanna-
questions?
Do you wanna open it up? Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna do that.
Subject to-
Any questions from the planning board for our engineer? Any questions from our professionals for the engineer? Any questions from the public for our engineer? Please, up to the microphone, if you don't mind.
Did you say hop?
I didn't say hop, no.
So, just so you all know.
And first of all, we need your name.
Steve Roddy.
And your address, please?
That's me.
Okay, and your address, please?
919 Madison Avenue, lot 10.
Okay.
right
Okay.
there.
So you have the right to.
There's no property that's going to be more affected about this program
You have to.
than anyone.
Right now, we're not taking commentary, we're asking you to cross-examine. If you have questions of the witness, please ask. And we'll give you an opportunity to make all your comments at a later time.
Yeah,
Um,
any questions for the engineer on what he testified about?
I guess the only one I would have is that you moved some of the driveways. Now, if you can see the driveways, my house is 20 feet from one driveway and across the street from the other driveway, going in and out of these buildings. What are we gonna do about the absolute noise and traffic right in front of my house?
Yeah, I'm going to object to that.
That's not a question
It's
for
exactly,
the,
thank you.
that was testified about. You're free to have comments later. We'll be asking you to come back, but
Back another day?
no, today,
All
tonight,
right,
tonight,
I'll just sit here.
tonight. Anybody else from the public that have a question about what was testified today? No? Okay. Your next witness.
Steve? And I'm sworn.
Sir, please raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony about to this matter with the truth and the truth, and nothing but the truth. Please state your name for the record and spell it.
Stephen Lidster, Lidster, with Denholtz Properties.
Amen. Steve, what is your affiliation with Denholtz Properties?
I am the Director of Development. I oversee all of our ground-up development and construction projects.
There are two things I want to ask you. Number one, having to do with the county. What is the status in terms of the county approvals for this project?
So we received the county approval. I just pulled it up. It looks like in early January of '21.
So is that this driveway layout?
I believe so. I think that was, I think this driveway change was made prior to receiving the site plan approval.
It was part of the original site plan application?
I believe so.
I don't know if that's really true.
We're checking some dates.
Yeah.
Okay, we need to check the dates.
Yeah.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I have a copy of that county approval. It's a conditional approval. It is dated January 11, 2021. There are a whole host of comments, conditions. There are 4 conditions on the actual cover letter from the county, and then there is a supplemental report from Victor Zavad, principal engineer, that is roughly 4 or 5 pages long. Plans last revised December 16, 2020.
So not this driveway
Do you
layout?
know, the original driveway layout, do you know if there's any ingress or egress on Memorial Drive? The original application, do you recall?
No, there was nothing on Memorial Drive.
What I'm concerned about, does that letter, does it, does it reflect anything about the fire department, the firehouse development across the street?
I would have to read through it real quick and I can let you know.
Yeah, it wouldn't, right? This was far enough back, but when the firehouse had to go in for their permits with the county, they would have reviewed their application with the understanding that ours has been in and received approval. So I think the county is aware of both projects.
Dan, the new firehouse, the bays and all the doors are more aligned with Cookman Avenue and south, not necessarily North Cookman Avenue where these buildings were proposed. I don't think there's much
I'm not saying there is a conflict, I'm just asking, does,
I would venture to guess
I don't know if it has an impact at all, that's all.
they approved
The
of.
county's review is generally
Yeah.
limited to how does the proposed development affect the county improvements? So they're probably not even looking across the street from this project at the improvements. They're making sure there is no entrance from Memorial Drive, that the curve, sight distance, sight triangles at the intersections, there's no building encroachment, which there was, so this building had to be adjusted to accommodate those side triangles.
They're looking at lighting on the roadway, traffic lights on the roadway.
And the specific
width,
improvements in the right of way.
Improvements on the right of way, that's
So-
what they look at.
I'm just asking a question.
Right, and I'm trying to
When
give
this
you,
was, when this was approved, and when you got the approval from the county, I don't think the firehouse was.
No, the firehouse is probably 2022 or 2023. if I'm correct.
but they would they would look at making sure that if this development had any improvements in the intersections, that those were gonna line up with whatever's changing in the intersection on the other side of the street. And since, James, I think you said the firehouse development is organized toward Cookman, right?
Yeah.
So there wouldn't be any,
All of the, aren't they entering, don't the trucks going in and out of Memorial Drive?
Yeah, yes, but the bays are like a Cookman Avenue and south of there. The whole kind of northern part of the parking lot that was there,
by the way.
from like Madison to
If you make
Cookman,
a
is gonna
PDF
still
for
be a
somebody,
parking
please
lot.
turn that shit
So
off.
you'll have like some cars coming in at the very top.
Right.
But other than
Yeah.
that, the trucks are kind of more south by Cookman Avenue and south of there. They're not coming across out in front of these buildings.
But again, that's a county issue that they'll deal with when they review this.
And there's
when-
no driveway on Cookman, right?
Correct.
So when these updated plans go in, there's a bunch of conditions, obviously, that the applicant has to comply with. They'll look at the new plans, obviously, at that point. And then aware of the firehouse, and make their
So you have to go
determination.
back to the county?
They do.
Yes.
They're gonna-
Yeah.
Yeah, after this, the next step will be closing it out with the county.
Next, in terms of the, what was I gonna ask you? There's one other question that the board had.
Oh, was it the operational,
Yeah, there's another question I can.
About the lobby and the.
Yeah, there was a change in the lobby.
Yeah, why don't we briefly go through the change of the lobby, the change of the trash room. There's also something else that I want.
shared parking?
Shared parking, go ahead.
Oh, actually, it's on the CCH report on the first page. It tells you everything
Yep.
that the changes are, so.
Correct. But I just want you briefly, we're gonna bring the architect up to go through in full
Okay.
the plans, but I just want you to touch upon those issues.
Sure, yeah, you can see the, this is on the
Well,
architectural.
I think what also
Oh,
we're looking
the
at
EV.
for is,
The
Um,
EV issue.
yeah, why these changes were made.
I think that was before my time being involved in this project.
To the best of your
Yes,
knowledge.
yeah, I believe the engineer had spoken to that, though. There was some concern about the location of the trash room being close to the residential area, so that was then pulled down, as you can see.
As well as the driveways, am I correct?
The driveway and the trash room, correct, yeah. That's now been pulled down 100 feet or so to the east on Bangs Avenue,
Away from those residential.
away from the residential, yeah.
In terms of the shared parking, there's a comment within the report, CCH marked as B2. There will be shared parking, am I correct?
Correct, yeah.
In terms of the EV, question was whether or not the EV space are going to be EV ready when installed.
No, we will actually build out the EV spots.
Okay, so
when
all the
you do
EV
project.
spots will be real EV spots
Everything
day one.
everything that's labeled on the architectural plans as EV will be built day one.
Okay.
Are there EV spaces in this building on the right? Because in the architecturals, I saw them in the other building, but not in this building, yeah, but not the other building.
Yes. Give me one second. Yeah, you can see here, this is the other building.
Yeah, I don't think they're on the architectural plan.
No. Okay.
All right, so
Yeah,
which
so this-
building,
yeah,
which
this is-
building
this
are
is
we
the-
in now?
This is the larger of the two.
Okay,
This is the architectural plan. Here's Bangs Avenue. So you
okay.
can see all these labeled EV.
Oh, that's the whole.
And then all along the Bangs Avenue.
That's all Bangs Avenue,
Frontage
okay.
here.
All right, can we, if you don't mind, just go down a little bit to Madison? And that exit? Okay. All right, that's the exit, and there's, what's that compact car there? How is somebody getting into that spot?
Very carefully.
Right, where you're going in and out, right where your hand is?
Yep.
How is anybody getting in and out of that? Is that,
Very carefully.
I think that was an extra spot that we had either, it could be a compact car or it's an additional place where we can provide bike storage.
As
I
indicated
don't
on the
believe,
plans.
yeah,
right?
I don't
It's
believe
indicated.
we're counting that towards our parking totals.
All right, so that's not part of your parking totals.
And again, as indicated, additional bike storage can go right into that space.
Okay, can we, and I'm not sure if you're the one to answer this.
I'll try.
Where is, once again, where is all the trash is going to be on bangs? In the new, on the new parking lot?
In this,
I mean, new parking exit?
the larger of the two buildings, there's one trash room.
Right, there's
That's
one
on
there, so
bangs
it's
here.
on that side.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, let's go to the other one just to see what it looks like. Because I certainly don't remember from 2020.
So that's over here. Here's Memorial.
Right?
There's,
And so where would the trash be rolled out in the middle of the block?
so the trash is right here. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Now, you're gonna utilize a private hauler for this?
Correct, yeah.
And then you'll be able to determine the amount of times they come during the week, depending upon how much trash is being deposited.
Okay,
Correct?
so
That's
that trash is nowhere near residential?
Correct.
It's in the middle of the block?
Middle of
Okay.
the block, scheduled pickups with a private hauler.
Understood, okay.
That's all I have for this one.
What were the lobby changes? Did we say that?
Can I think I'll
Well,
let
that'll be
I'll let the
Okay.
architect speak to that. He
Okay.
can speak a little bit better to that.
Any other?
The dual parking too is also going to be someone else, right? The shared parking spaces?
We'll confirm that we are going to do the shared parking.
And what is that, when you say shared parking, like, what does that mean? Like, so when you rent, this is a rental, right?
Correct.
So when you rent in here, which ones are retail versus, or is it's a catch can, you're in?
Typically, when
and
you have
good luck
shared
to you.
parking, it'll be open. It won't be
Nothing's assigned.
Except for, you have tandem spaces. Those will need to be assigned.
So these are the spaces I'm talking about. See these ones are two.
Yes.
So they're gonna have
Those
to-
are tandem.
They're gonna
So you
have to
have some
assign that to
tandems
one residence,
One.
and they're gonna share the two spaces and
Correct.
Okay,
the cars in.
okay.
My concern is the one of them has a handicap parking space on the outside, which seems silly to have a tandem with one handicap space, but it's already approved, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, let's
This was how it was
talk about
approved.
that.
Well, I don't know if we're allowed to, because it's already,
Oh, because that wasn't a change?
no, it's not a change. It's
Okay, that existed, okay,
existing, so.
all right. All right. Any other questions from the board for this witness? Any questions from our professionals?
Hang on, I'm sorry, I'm
None for me.
double checking something. What? I'm sorry, where is that tandem space?
This is along the back of the commercial spaces in the larger of the two buildings.
His picture's turned, so you have it's
Yeah,
on Memorial Drive, the bigger building, the first kind of section of Memorial Drive. East portion of the parking lot. Garage.
So what, would two cars go in one space?
Correct.
Right. You'd get it to one unit. So that's
Oh,
why
okay.
that's why they have to be assigned. Correct. Yeah.
That is
Right.
correct.
Yeah.
That is correct.
You have a concern, Don?
Sorry, is the testimony that was how it was in the original? That's not a change?
I don't know.
Okay, because I believe that is a change.
The addition of tandem spots or the
That they're
handicap?
stacked with a handicap spot.
So is that one stacked handicap?
I'm trying to.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
It's one
okay.
stacked
No,
handicap.
it is here.
Oh, it is the old one? It's on the old
Yeah.
plans? Okay,
It is.
then it's there. Any other questions from our professionals to this witness? Okay, any questions from the audience or from public for this witness?
Hi, Yvonne Clayton, 908 Cookman Avenue. Just clarify for me, shared parking, is that going to be shared parking with residents who are parking or just for commercial space?
So it would be shared parking between the commercial space and the residents in the building. So typically what you do on a building like this is you'll give it to the, whoever's renting the retail space, so they can use it themselves or give it to their employees. I think, how many do we have? 8? Eight. So, likely we'll have about 8, we would think about 8 employees between the 2 retail spaces.
And the residents who are sharing those spaces, what happens? They have to be out of the space?
It typically doesn't come up as often when people go out to work during the day. That's when you may have the people sharing the parking using the retail shops. I think there's only 8 out of 104 spaces. It's pretty common. We do it in a lot of our buildings, and we don't really have issues.
They caught COVID, they're not going to work.
Right.
What happens? Someone has to move that car? And where does it go, on the street?
If that were to happen, yes, but we don't really see it happening. It's such a small percentage of the total that we think 8 out of 104 won't be an issue.
Yeah, keep in mind, I believe the parking demand is 160. There's 167 parking spaces. When you take away the EV credit, which would be 16 parking spaces, that'd be 151. We have in excess then 5 parking spaces. So it's an additional 5 that we have above and beyond what is required parking. So, and then if there are the 8 commercial, then it would actually provide then for those, that means substantial amount.
Okay.
Any other questions from the public for this witness? Okay, thank you.
Next, I'll bring, another question for you?
One more.
Sure.
Okay, go ahead.
The loading zone, we talked about the loading zone, right?
Yes.
Okay, there's a loading zone on Bangs, but you don't have a loading zone on Madison?
We are proposing 2. One on Bangs and then one on Madison as well.
It's shown on Madison, right there.
Yeah, right here, right in front of the driveway.
Okay, and how many parking spaces are we losing on Bangs?
How many parking spaces?
We're actually increasing.
You want to come up and testify? Why don't we have some testimony?
I'm sorry, because of the, existing configuration, I'm sorry.
Well, identify yourself just so we have it for the record.
Yeah, so we pick it up on the tape.
I'm sorry, it's Mark Zelina, again, I previously was sworn. And because of the restriping along Bangs Avenue and the elimination of some prior driveway cuts there, we're actually increasing the number of spaces on Bangs Avenue from 9 to 15. So we're actually picking up 6 additional spaces on Bangs Avenue.
Is that with the loading zone or without the loading zone?
With the loading zone.
With the loading zone, we're adding 15.
Yes.
Okay.
No, we're adding
6.
6.
How about on Madison?
We're not losing any, we're not gaining any.
So that's a wash.
It's a wash.
Anything else from our public?
Oh, yes.
Go ahead.
I don't know if you're the right person to ask this question of,
I'm sorry.
but it's about the garage and what kind of screening is going to be.
Oh,
That'll be the next one.
Thank you.
Okay.
Do you want to open it to the public for the additional testimony? Just to make
Anyone
sure
from the public would like to discuss what was just testified to?
Either Mr. Junior or Mr. Watson.
Anybody else? Okay.
Sir, please raise your right hand. So, sir, definitely got to tell you the truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, I do.
Please state your name for the record and spell it.
Lance, Lance, Blake, Blake.
Thank you.
Lance, can you please give the board the benefit of your qualifications?
Sure. I'm a licensed professional architect in the state of New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, and several other states. I hold a Bachelor and a Master of Architecture from Tulane University that I received in 1982. I've been practicing architecture since. I'm the managing principal of Rotwein and Blake, my firm. I've testified before dozens, if not, I would say, numerous boards throughout the state. My license is in good standing.
If I may?
Okay.
Okay, Lance, what I want to do is first I want to mark the plans that you prepared. There are two sets of plans, one for each building, am I correct?
Yes.
What I want to do is I want to mark those in as A2 and A3. A2, we're going to do building 900. A3 is going to be building 901. What I want to do is just give the last revision date for those plans. I was to say May 1st, 2023, would that sound accurate?
It does, but I can't really see.
All right, let's make sure.
I'm sorry?
No, I'm wrong, 9/15/2022.
No.
Twelve,
Five-
sixteen, 22.
5/1.
Oh, I'm sorry, 5/1/2023.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So A2 and A3 are both dated 5/1/2023, the last revision date. Am I correct?
That's correct.
All right, let's.
Hold on. I don't think that's what we have. We've got the paper set, right?
Plans that were submitted under my review is last revised December 16, 2022 for both building 900 and building 901.
Yeah,
That's
we made-
what we have.
It's 5/1/2023.
Did we receive
It's misstated. Am I correct?
Those are not the plans we have.
Yeah.
The December plans, we got comments.
It's not the plans.
I do here.
It's not, I think, the 12/16.
12/16?
Let me see your plans first.
So one plan I have says 5/1/2022, that's the other one, that's a typo?
That should be 23.
Okay, the other one's fine.
Yeah, and these were submitted on December 13th of 2023 to the board, these plans.
So the date is supposed to be 5/1/2023, not 22.
That is correct.
Not a typo?
Yes.
So it's a typo on one of the plans because the other one looks like it's right.
Excuse me, the ones that were actually submitted were 5/1/23. So.
What did you say?
Ours are dated December of 22.
Yeah, something different.
So those were submitted to the
These are
zoning board
submitted
office?
December 13, 2023, via FedEx.
All right, so, okay.
I don't think we have the same.
So it seems as though many of us have different ones because I have all the most current. These are all the most current ones, 5/1/23. I don't know, for both buildings, 900 and 901. So are we saying that the reports that you created were based on old plans?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's not good.
So on the engineering end of it,
Yes.
I just referenced the plan that was submitted as part of the application. We do not dive into any of we don't have any comments on the architectural plans. I think there was one comment just for testimony regarding the proposed changes to the building. We focus mostly on the circulation, site, et cetera.
Okay.
I defer to Donna with regards to the height of the building, et cetera.
All right, so Donna's report, which was created on March 17th, was based on the December plans.
Looks like that.
Okay,
I don't know where that rendering
okay,
This is 12/22.
all right. All right, how are we going to proceed here?
Why don't we do this? Let's go through the plans. I would venture to guess there's nothing significant in terms of the revisions that's going to occur. Let's get through them, and certainly whatever comments that you have, I can give you my sets of plans if you want to take a look at these.
A lot of those we had addressed.
Correct.
Well, we can proceed, but I think that we're going to have to circle back on this and see where we go from here.
Okay, well, let's see what the testimony is
Yeah.
as to the changes.
Okay. All right.
All right, let's go.
Yeah. So starting with the smaller building, Building 900, let's just go through some of the, what was approved and what was proposed, the statistics. Basically, what had been approved, we had 33 market rate units and 8 affordable. In the new proposed, we have 32 market rate units and nine affordable. So that was a minor modification in terms of how we were shifting the affordable between the two buildings.
I thought somebody said there were going to be 7 of these buildings.
I'm correcting that.
Okay. So then
That's-
there's 9. There's 9, and I assume we still have 25 total.
We have 25 in total when I get to,
16 in the other building.
correct.
So 16 in the smaller building,
No,
No.
other way.
We're going to have
16 in the larger building.
16 in the larger building
Okay.
and 9 in the smaller building.
Okay.
That's correct. The original building had a height of 56 feet 7 inches. The new proposal has a building height of 59 feet 3.5 inches. And the main reason for that is because there's a slope between, there's a topographic slope in the building. So where we enter the building, we have to be able to have a certain height. So when we get to the front of the building, off of Memorial, basically the building gets a little taller there. So the average height around the building grows a little bit. So the original proposal just assumed that, at least from what I could surmise, was that the site was flat. We typically have a floor to floor for the first floor of around 13 feet, floor to floor. But in this case, because of the elevation at where you enter the parking garage, we had to have the 13 feet floor to floor from there. So when you come across, with your podium, your building mostly at the retail will get a little bit taller. So that was the main purpose for the additional height.
So did you not do the original plans? Is that right?
I was not the architect of the original
So
plans.
somebody got it, the first one they got it wrong. They didn't count in the slope.
The topography, yes. Okay.
And what's the difference in height?
Difference in height is roughly 2 feet and a couple inches.
And that's well within what's permitted, am I correct?
Yes, I believe the zone calls for 90 feet.
90 feet, correct.
Yeah.
So the survey, the existing condition, so the contours were wrong, or just the
Well,
calculation?
I just don't know that when the original architect had, done his elevations, that he had taken into account the difference in grade from one side of the building to the other.
Doesn't that seem unusual?
Can't comment on what somebody else did.
Okay.
His facial expression's good for the record.
All right, continue.
Yeah. The original building also had a retail area of 1,728 square feet. We are proposing a retail area of 1,420 square feet. And one of the reasons for that is if you kind of blow up the area around the retail, you'll notice that there's a striped triangular area at the bottom that's really not viable to be able to lay out any space. So it just becomes too narrow. It's just not practical to be able to lay out space.
So what is that space then?
So that space is good.
It's in the building, right?
It's in the building. So what I'm proposing when we start to talk about bicycle storage, because we do have a small bicycle room, I am going to propose that we can add bike racks in that area.
I'd be careful with that, because how are you gonna get them past the cars?
Yeah, they have to be functional.
Oh, there's a, yeah, there's a, yeah, if I will, I'll just point out. So we have a pathway along here. Within this area, I could fit probably around 25, 30 bike racks.
And they're gonna have to walk up with them to the top, up there to the handicap spaces to get out.
Yeah, they can just walk in, yeah. I mean, I could provide a door that would have to be secured, a secure door off of Memorial if need be. But I thought that would be an area that we could supplement the bike racks, because it's really not practical to lay out any kind of, retail environment in there. It's just too narrow.
And you make use of what otherwise would be dead space within the building.
Yeah, that's correct.
Go on.
The amenity deck in the original proposal was 6,079 square feet. It's more or less the same. We have 5,954 square feet. In the original proposal, we had 50 spaces, parking spaces, and in this proposal, we have 52 spaces. And we've laid out all the EV spaces, and as was mentioned before, those will be, all put in at one time.
So where's the amenity deck?
The amenity deck, if we go to the next level, so the amenity deck is a landscaped deck for the residents, and there'll be a number of activities, barbecue areas, landscape areas for.
It's on the second floor?
It's on the second floor, correct.
Was it like over the retail?
It's over the retail. Yeah, that's correct. So it's an amenity for residents to go, to be able to go outside and utilize the outdoor area. They'll have a nice view. And the landscape architect will get a little bit further into the details of that. We also have an area in the back of the building that will have private decks for the residents themselves. So the next several levels are the unit layouts.
Well, I'm sorry. Before we move forward from the balconies on the west side of the building, what are we looking over? Are we looking into people's backyards?
That guy's house.
That's what I'm asking. Because before we didn't have any balconies on purpose to not look into other people's backyards. So that's changed?
Yeah, well, we are going to propose, we are proposing a 6-foot privacy wall, so.
All right, 6 foot, but these are balconies where? On the fifth floor, fourth floor?
No, on the second floor.
All right, so the balconies new balconies are proposed on the second floor, which would be, at this point, what, 26 feet up? 25 feet, something? How high up is that balcony?
Those will be about 13 feet.
All right, 13 feet, so you're putting up a 6-foot wall, and you still have another 7, 8 feet that you're looking into somebody's backyard.
7, 8, no.
Tell me, explain. Tell me what the progression is here.
So on the second level, the first level of apartments,
Yes,
you walk out onto your balcony,
okay.
and basically you'll have a 6-foot wall in front of you.
Oh, in front of you, so it's a 6 foot there, but there's more feet below that.
It's a screen wall, basically.
Okay, so you've got,
Maybe go to A4.
Which label here, the first floor, is really the second level up, right? The
For-
ground floor?
Is it like the first floor? No, it's like,
So it says 900 first floor plan.
yes, it's ground level and then first floor.
Yes.
That's the second story. That's correct.
And that's where the balconies begin on the west side?
That's correct.
And they continue on to the fourth floor?
No,
No. They're just on the...
just
Those
on
balconies are just on that level.
just on that level.
so the balconies are going to look at a wall?
Well, it's outside.
I'm just asking.
Well,
Is that?
it's nice to have.
Is that a yes? That is, we're looking at a wall.
You're
We're not
It's
looking-
outdoor space that's screened by a wall. That is-
You're looking at a
Tell
wall.
us about the wall. Is it a solid wall? Is it?
Solid.
Okay. Wood, same finish as the building?
Same finish as the building. I
Okay,
mean-
so we need the detail of
Yeah.
that,
So
of what this wall
the
looks like.
inside, yeah. So it's just a continuation of the fascia of the garage. Now on the
A4.
not of the wall now.
A4?
On
Shows the elevation.
On the inside, what the residents are looking at, potentially what we can do is we could do a wood slat, to decorate it a little bit.
Because I'm personally more concerned about our residents, as residents outside of the building. I mean, what we decide here for what the second floor people will look at is a whole nother thing. I'm more concerned about looking over into someone's backyard.
Are the the way the wall is going to be situated, is there going to be the ability to look out over onto adjacent properties, where them looking up into
No.
balconies?
No.
Okay.
So if I go to A4, that's showing the privacy screen, that's what we're talking about?
Correct.
This privacy screen
Oh, no.
starts,
That privacy screen, the label for privacy screen on this elevation refers to the
Parking.
the parking garage.
Yeah, that's something
level.
different.
That's the, yeah. Above that,
yeah,
where it just looks kind of like a brick motif, just looks brick above it, yeah. That's
That's
the
correct.
privacy wall for the
That will be the
balconies.
so
privacy
there are
wall.
window, okay. but-
Behind that is the windows in the building. So like the floor to ceiling window, or however high the window is in that living space, will be higher than the wall.
But it's for these units that come.
Right,
that's-
exactly.
Right, it's not,
No, yeah, right.
okay.
Now, above that,
Above that, on the upper levels, yes, we do have balconies that extend out from some of the units,
And
not all.
those are new. Are those new?
Those are new.
Okay,
Ones with
so now those will look over residences into people's backyards.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Not a fan, but not a fan of that.
How deep are those balconies? Only three.
Yeah.
Only three balconies.
All right, why don't we describe where those balconies are in relation to the entire building and the street, and how close these balconies are to any adjacent residential property?
So on the levels 3 and 4, you can see where we have balconies that extend out. They're roughly.
Can you show me what we're looking at with your hand?
Sure.
Over there? No, not with your somewhat cursor hand. What are we looking at?
And you have balcony here, here.
All right, so that's the second floor, so that's blocked.
No, because it's
That's
actually,
That's the third.
it's labeled second right there, but it actually means.
All right, so there's at least 6 balconies overlooking private residences.
6, yes.
And that's in which building?
That's building
The 900 or 901?
900.
900. So are there any overlooking 901? Any balconies overlooking residences in 901? So far we have 6.
There are some there as well. But they're set well back.
So,
Could you go back to the line to show, please? So when you show those balconies, of course, that's over your property line, but how far then? The edge of how deep, 2 questions, how deep are the balconies?
Balconies are 5 feet.
5 feet. And they're completely over your lot, but how much, is there more land than, do you go to the next lot, or do they go to the right, or, do they go right to your lot line?
Yeah, they're set back.
Like how much?
Approximately 10 feet.
Okay, so it's almost 15 feet to the building, right?
To the property line?
5 plus and
All right, so from the edge of the balcony, if somebody's standing on the balcony, how far to the lot line?
It would be about 10 feet.
It is more than that.
It's what?
Oh, to the property line, to the edge of the
To
building.
the property line.
The property line is about another, it's like 5 feet.
Because
I would say approx-
we should know because it should be
Yeah.
on the plan.
I would, and we could revise that to put those dimensions on.
We need to know in order to make some decisions here.
6 feet.
I would,
It's 6 feet off the property, and then 8 feet.
Building is 6 feet off the property line, and then the third and fourth floor balconies are another.
I would say 14, 15 feet, and we'll get a more exact number on
Okay,
that.
so we're guessing that that's what it is. We don't have it on a plan that shows us how much it is. There's no plan that shows it's 16 feet.
No,
I'm just asking.
The site plan shows a dashed line with the building above,
Yes?
but it doesn't have the jogs for the balconies, so I don't know where those balconies are in relationship to that dashed line
Right,
with the dimension to the property line.
okay.
Right. So the balconies extend out about 5 feet.
Okay.
So that's a
All right, so that's a
clarification
question.
that needs to be-
Clarification.
We'll
yes.
provide clarification.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, can we move to the other building to find out how many balconies are overlooking residences?
So we have 6 foot floors, 7. 7 floors, 7.
Yeah, that building's oriented differently toward the adjoining property, so it doesn't have as much exposure.
Right, because most of those are overlooking, right, they're not really overlooking residences there.
No, they're set back quite a bit.
Okay,
There's a dimension on that.
can we, it's hard to tell on here, can you just, all right, can you just explain something to me, please? Here, which is our closest resident, right here,
Okay,
right? How far away is this deck from this resident's backyard? Because I'm assuming, oops,
You can do it, you can do it.
There we go.
6.3 feet.
sorry?
6.2 feet.
no, that's the property.
That's the property.
That's the property line here. That's the building we're talking about?
Yep.
Okay, so they're 6 feet before we hit this gentleman's property.
Correct.
And how many of them are there here?
How many?
How many balconies? This is the one with the 6 or is this
You
the one
have,
with the?
first, second,
Is that
third,
an amenity deck
fourth.
back behind the building?
Yes.
Is that
It's an
a
amenity
privacy
deck?
wall at the back of that as well? So
Yes.
that whole thing's gonna have the 6-foot privacy wall on it, right?
This is all gonna have privacy wall too?
Yes,
Okay, so then that's all the same as the other building balcony where I guess they can't see through it supposedly. So then the balconies above that are the ones that we're concerned with.
so,
Right,
yeah,
the
so,
balcony's above that.
so the balconies above, just on that, there are three balconies. 3 additional.
3 additional, well, there's 6, there's
Wait a
7.
minute, there's
one
7.
I'm talking about the one that's closest to that other gentleman's property. The rest of them, are set well back on the edge of the building, where the building rises above the amenity deck and the podium.
So there's one balcony that's an issue there. Am I
One-
right there?
There,
One line of balconies, it's
That
like
one on the
three
end.
balconies. That one on the end.
and what's the distance between the edge of that balcony and the property line? Can you tell from this?
Excuse me, how far does that balcony protrude out from the face of the building? 3 feet?
5 feet.
5 feet? Basically, I'm just scaling from the site plans. As Don had mentioned, there's a dashed line on the site plan over the parking field that indicates the building line for the upper floors. And that lower left-hand corner it's a dimension of 12 feet from the property line to the dashed line, which would be the face of the building. If you're telling me your balcony goes out about 5 feet.
No, but it's also, that unit is set back, am I correct?
No, it's the opposite. So the piece of the building that faces Madison bumps out toward Lot 10. So it's only set back about, which is it, 12 feet?
12 feet, yes.
Yes. The rest of the building jogs back, and you have almost 30 feet.
Correct.
So that
But
one
there's a
unit,
section in the, which is basically in Lot 10's front yard.
right,
Is
so,
there a balcony on that
Yes.
corner unit?
What's that?
Is there a balcony on that
Yeah,
lower
we
corner
can, we
unit?
can get rid of that balcony on that.
If it's a 5-foot balcony, it's 7 feet, it's 7
we
feet
need
off
to
the
protect our
property.
residents
So if
from,
we get rid of that one, the closest one, then I think that eliminates that issue.
Yeah, on every floor.
Do it, yeah, right on.
yeah, on every floor, so they're not looking into this gentleman's front yard.
You're on that line of units, right?
Right,
on
that
there.
line of
Correct.
units.
That's
And
fine.
just to continue, as you move, as it jogs back in and the upper floors, yes, right there where it gets set back from the building face to the property line, scales. I'm scaling, is that 45 feet? So if you have a 5-foot balcony, you are 40 feet from the property line.
Okay.
So swing around to the upper end. Now we're into the backyards of the people on Madison. Again, that scales from the face of the building to property line, 28 feet. So if it's a 5-foot balcony, you're at 23 feet from the face of the balcony to the property line, and that's the rear yard property lines of those residents on Madison Avenue.
And that balcony, that where the hand was, can we go back to that, right there, that balcony, if you're looking over, are you in someone's backyard?
Here, right, you mean, like that?
Yes, to,
Either way, either
I'm
direction.
facing it to the
Yeah.
left, so it's
Yeah,
to the
you'll be right-
west.
It'll be right here.
So we're back into someone else's backyard.
If you're looking south and or west, you're looking into someone's rear yard.
No, all right, yeah, I'm trying to think of what this is. This is a house, this is the church. The church parking lot, this is the church.
Or is
I
it?
mean, I don't know how the rest of the board feels, but
I mean, all these balconies in the back are new, right? This is,
these are all new. These were not here before.
I'm gonna guess that they're new because they weren't wanted before, is my assumption.
We spent a lot of time
Right.
discussing,
The original approval did not have, the buildings didn't have balconies on the backside.
They were never
Right,
proposed at all,
that's-
but
Not even
That's,
Juliet's.
yes. We need, we can't have our residents have people overlooking their
So I
backyard.
just want to clarify,
Yeah, on
In
the,
my
on
opinion,
Madison.
but on one
that,
vote.
The last balcony overlooks the church, not a residence.
that entire line.
on the one side was Barbara's concern.
Yeah, that
I'm
last
I'm
building
gonna
is the
propose
church, not-
that
not
we
a
need to come
residence.
back with what's the plan.
Well, this is the plan, that's why we're having
For
the
the balconies.
conversation. That's why we're having the conversation.
Well, you're gonna have to come back with, right, you're gonna have to come back with what the plans look
All
like.
right, but
anyway.
right now, the way we're looking at it, that one line we've agreed to remove. All right, and then we'll take a look at this line
Right.
also.
And
That's
also
right,
the other 6 that are on 900.
let's go back to number 1. So all those there. All right, we'll take a look at them.
Okay.
Okay.
And those other 6 are that number 900?
Yep.
And just so it's on the record, it's actually dimensioned on the site plans that the upper level floors are 13.3 feet from the property line, on that westerly property line.
And that's after you're on the patio, on the deck.
And
So
then
at the edge of the deck.
If
From
it's a
the end.
5-foot deck, now you're at 8 feet.
So you're at 8 feet, so that, okay. All
Now
right, so
you're at
that's
8
even
feet,
less.
and you're looking
Okay.
into
You're,
technically the side yards or the rear yards.
yes, okay. All right. All right, so you know that that's a concern of ours. Okay.
How does the board feel getting rid of the balconies that are on there and doing Juliet balconies instead?
That's what was approved before.
No.
What was approved before?
Nothing.
No balcony.
How does the board feel about that?
You have the same problem.
Well, you're not going out onto, I mean, listen, if you have a window there, you're looking out also, you're going to at least have a window there.
Yeah, the only difference between, just having a window in a Juliet is because there's a railing that's flush with the facade, you have the ability to have either like a sliding glass door, so you have a little bit, you get a little bit more fresh air, a little bit more light, into the living room and the living spaces.
All right, so that would be a change in the window.
Well, it'd be
Correct.
consistent with what we have here.
Consistent with what was approved.
Well, we've come here for the balconies with these sliding glass doors. We would eliminate the extended balcony, put a Juliet balcony, but remain with the sliding glass doors. that we have
So
with
people would
plans.
not be sitting outside
Correct.
overlooking people's
Yeah.
backyards.
I'd be fine with that. You're not encouraged to sit outside and hang out out there.
Right, you're not encouraged to
It's
sit
more or less the same as a
outside.
window, which a window.
You're sitting in your living room,
Mhm.
and you're able to just, open up that panel.
That's certainly more amenable, but we'll have to wait to find out what the comments are from the board and from the professionals and from the public and all that.
That's why I'm just trying to get
I
some
understand.
direction. If we're gonna make changes to the plans, let's see where the board is going with it.
I'm fine with Juliet, personally, but I'm one vote. I'm not. It's up to everybody else. And then we'll also have to hear from our public as well.
All right.
Okay.
So those are the main highlights of the changes statistically to the building. As far as the exterior and materials, the materials are in keeping with what was originally approved. We have two different tones of fiber cement board, a gray and a white. We have white brick. We have a composite wood that you can see where we have our tenant signage. We also have the multicolored, what we'll call baguettes, as a decorative element on the corner, and I believe that was originally on the original approval architecture. There are some, changes in configuration slightly, and that really had to do with the layout of the units, and also the amount of interior amenity space that we're proposing for the residents. We have, off of the amenity deck, we have amenities such as, a living room area, for some co-working, fitness center. So all the types of amenities that, more of the Class A, more high-end residential buildings provide for their tenants. So we've shifted, some square footage to some corners where we added, rather than lobby space, we have a unit, we have fitness and co-working. So configuration-wise is slightly different than what was originally proposed. But again, in terms of the look and feel of the building, if you looked at one proposal versus the other, you would say that it's really consistent. We really tried to stay true to the original architecture and the architectural feeling. Also, use of white brick at the base and some areas for public art as well.
And you acknowledge we would have to go back or go before the Public Arts Commission for approval for any public art, am I correct?
That's correct.
So did you say that anything changed on the outside of the building? Meaning that the color scheme, because it's unclear, I don't know, to me, I don't know if it is to the rest of the board, you're saying things, but I want to make sure they're in here.
Yes.
If they're all in here, then we still have to go back to Donna to actually review the plans that she did not have. So that still has to happen, let's be clear.
Everything that I am saying is
Is already in here.
Is in here.
Okay.
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 Um,
Are you going to speak about the backup generators?
Yeah, I have a list.
That's someone else?
I'm gonna go right into that.
Okay.
Those things
There's
go
something
into-
about the change in the, I think you have in your letter, but you're increasing the floor area?
Yeah,
Again,
what's-
we're slightly increasing the floor area, but not on the site. We're not encroaching on any setbacks. But because of the configuration of what happens on top relative to amenity space, where we added amenity space, so there's a slight difference in configuration to the building on top of the podium compared to what was done prior.
Am I correct? The building at 901 is 49,132 square feet. Am I correct?
901? The total building area?
Correct. From my road there.
The total building area of building 901 was 150, yeah, 150,900 square feet.
And the additional square footage that was added is less than 2,000 square feet?
It's 152,140 square feet.
Which is less than 2,000, am I correct?
That's correct.
All right, and 900, what is the square footage of that building?
Square footage of that building is 73,542, and we're now at 75,282.
Again, less than 2,000 square feet.
That's correct.
Is that an issue for them?
No, it's just,
A fact.
correct. They've pushed some things to the outside of the building, but it's still within the setback envelope, as the architect was describing, the stuff above the podium, is where they've kind of gotten a little more elbow room. Ground level is still effectively the same footprint, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
And
Just more memorial work.
the reason being is, when we took the project over, when Denholtz Properties took the project over, we looked at the unit layouts. We felt that there needed to be improvements and changes to those layouts. We needed to add amenities to the building. And there were just really de minimis reconfigurations above the podium that created this difference, this slight difference in square footage.
Now, there's also a generator that's being added, am I correct?
That's correct.
And where is that?
That is on the roof, and it is screened.
Is that,
Powered? Is it powered?
It's gas,
Natural.
natural gas, yeah.
all right, does each building have a generator?
Yes,
And both are screened, am I correct?
that's correct.
All right, there's an issue or a question that came up with regard to the relocation of the trash room and also the lobby. What I want you to do is just specify in the plans where that has been relocated, both the trash room and the lobby.
Okay, starting with building 901, and I believe Steve Litster actually went through that, but I'll go through it again, is we moved the trash room down to the middle of the building, to the middle of the street. As you can see where the trash room is by the additional elevator. And we moved that down a good amount away from where it was prior with the, to where it was by the residents. And it was not just for that, but it's also a practical reason too, because originally the trash room was all the way at the end of the building. So people from one side of the building had to walk almost the entire L shape of the building to get to the trash room. By moving it, it made it, a little bit more central and a little bit more convenient for the residents.
So it serves both
Upstairs.
purposes. It's
That's
better
right.
designed for the building and also better for the entire neighborhood.
That's correct.
Okay, what about the other building?
The other building, I don't know that the trash room really moved from the original proposal. Because the building, configuration is so tight relative to the site. So basically the lobby and the trash room more or less remained in the same location, as well as the ingress egress to the garage itself.
All right, what I want to talk about next are the bicycle storage rooms. Let's identify on the plans where bicycle storage is, how many bikes that each building can accommodate, and what, if any, additional bike storage can be added to the buildings.
Correct. So since you're on it, starting with building 900, you can see in the upper right-hand corner is where our bike storage area is. And we've laid out what we would consider their double racks. So each rack has 2 bikes. So in that particular room, I believe we can accommodate about 30 bikes. And then, as I was proposing, because we have that striped area where we can fit a number of bikes as well.
Can I comment on that area right there? I noticed you're not using wheel stops for the parking spaces just above that. So my only concern with this, I mean, I like that you're using for bike parking. I was trying to make sure.
The bikes wouldn't go within that path above.
My question before is, how are they getting out? You told me they were going to go straight up along this walking path to the handicap spaces, how they were going to get out of this area, right?
Correct.
So my only concern is that these parking spaces don't have wheel stops.
Yeah, those need wheel stops.
So they're going to come up and they're going to park on that.
We can add wheel stops.
We can have.
Yeah, so that's
No
fine.
problem.
Whether it's wheel stops, whether it's a door to the outside, I just think one of those would be necessary to make that viable. But either one's fine.
Yeah.
No, we can add.
Yeah, that's fine.
And how many bikes do you think we can get into that striped area? 25 or so?
I believe so, yeah.
All right, so you're looking at, for that particular building, we can accommodate about 55 bikes or so.
Yeah, we can also add some down at the lower right hand as well. I think we should show some striped area. We can actually add, within this parking area, a good amount of bikes.
And in the other building, I believe we had that one compact spot. Can we add bikes for that too?
Yes, yeah, in fact, we did.
Use that compact spot?
We did designate that as a potential.
Right.
But we do have a much larger bike storage area here where we can accommodate 120 bikes.
Oh, okay, so it doesn't appear you need that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if the need is there, certainly that spot can be utilized.
Well, I mean, that space was on the original plan.
Right. Oh, what, the
Let's
compact
not-
one or this one?
Yeah, let's not
Okay.
screw up
We
the
just gonna
counts
leave that
or
alone.
unless you want to justify the, okay. I mean, I don't mind.
No, but it sounds as though
it's not a
there
very
are enough.
functional space. I mean, it may be better off as something else.
Yeah. No, it sounds like there's enough.
Okay.
I think there was a question about the garage door.
About,
Yeah. What are the
I
garage?
have many other
the type of garage door? Yeah, it's a secure door. It's going to be a roll-up grill type door.
Oh, can you see through it or no?
Yes.
But it's less than 50% open visibility?
Yes.
All right, so the lights that are inside cannot be viewed outside.
Not clearly.
Actually, if the board would prefer, we can do a solid door.
No, I mean, I'm fine with whatever you propose. The issues, my concern is more so the light that comes out of a garage. We've had this experience recently.
Just
where
drove
we
past
have
there today.
we have glass doors now, and all I see are these bright lights from the inside.
No issue with that.
That's what we need to know. What are we gonna do here? I'm not looking
Well-
for you to change anything. I'm just saying, if these slats, if you can't see out, it's okay.
You
I
can,
just wanna know.
you'll be able to see out. So
You
I
can see out.
mean,
Okay.
it's,
The lights that are inside the garage,
will emit outside.
is there any glare
yes.
coming out? Not glare, but,
Yes.
What? No, and that can be changed though, to make it, we can
We-
make
we-
them opaque, or we can make them a solid color or a solid door to avoid that.
that's up to the board.
That's
How
what
they
I'm saying,
feel.
whatever the board prefers with that, we're fine with.
Any opinions from the board?
I think a solid door is probably more practical. It's talking, you're in a residential area, just, half a block away.
Yeah.
I don't disagree, I agree.
So all these glass doors that I see downtown, what, those were what was preferred before, the board wanted that before?
Yeah, we thought it was a good idea.
Yeah.
But you know, well, so the thing is,
Those are the
You know,
Lauren.
inside the garage, there are different light levels. Sometimes lighting is more apparent right at the entrance. But 545 is a classic example because
It's
the way the
horrible.
driveway slopes up,
Horrible.
it's like you're looking right at the lights.
Yep.
Well,
But
with
But, you know-
with the glass door, with glass panels on the door too, is depending upon the reflectivity of the glass, during the day, you're not going to see in, or the light's not going to come out. But at night, you will.
yeah. Anything else?
Yeah, there's a comment in the report about undergrounding of utilities. Why don't we touch upon that?
That would be more for the engineer than.
I should have caught him before. I'm sorry.
But we'll have to have them, let's finish here and then we can come back about the underground, if you don't mind,
That's fine.
to not confuse.
All right, what I want to do then is just go through, do you have any additional testimony with regard to the revisions on the plan other than what you've testified to?
Just that we've added some signage details and a section showing screening at what would be considered either a retaining wall or a stem wall. The only difference is that a retaining wall is actually retaining earth, meaning that it's partially buried. Stem wall is from grade up, and depending upon where grade falls around the building, would either be stem or retaining, but the top of it would all be consistent. So, we pretty much maintain the same detail that was, I believe, prior approval.
And I'm assuming that the signage is up to code?
Compliant with the
Compliant with
regulations.
code?
In fact, I think the way we've redone our parking with the section with this retaining wall, the way the cars are oriented, before I believe the cars were pointed towards the wall, now we're at, sideways to the wall.
All right, what I'm going to do is go through some of the comments and what's been marked as B2, the CCH report. I just want to hit on a few of those comments. There is a comment on page 3, 1.5A about discrepancy in the plans labeling an affordable two-bedroom unit on each floor in the northwest corner, the 901 building as a one-bedroom unit. Has that been corrected?
That was picked up in this particular submission, yes.
Okay. There is also a comment with regard to the 900 building, access into the garage is also shown in the space. Appears to be a discrepancy in the designs to the location of stairs conflicting with access into the garage. Has that been rectified?
Yes.
There's no conflict?
There's no conflict.
Affordable units, again, it's all UHAC compliant. You've already testified, or there's been testimony as to the number of affordable units in each building, correct?
Correct.
Continuing on. Shared parking, we've already gone through on how that is working. EV, we've gone through. Loading spaces. There's really not a lot more to go through. The street tree layout, I'll have testimony from our landscape architect. Mechanical equipment, that is all shielded, am I correct?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'll jump ahead. So I want to hear a little bit more about the backup generators, the sound attenuation, the materials for screening. Can you give us a little more detail?
Sure, well, the screening, I believe,
You've got a wood cladding roof screen wall and a metal roof screen.
it would be a metal roof screen. It wouldn't be wood. The wood, what's shown, the bulkhead,
Yeah, tell the board how this works over here.
yeah, I understand. So there's a roof screen around the elevator bulkhead as well as the generator. And that would be, I guess we are calling it, okay. The reason why we're calling it out as a wood clad, it's really the engineered wood. So it's consistent. What happens is the stair tower is clad in wood, actually, if you go to one of the renderings. So it basically what it does is it completes the enclosure. But it's not like a slat wall, it's not open.
Okay, so
Okay,
it's
so,
over in this corner.
If it's on
Right
the
there.
other side. Be better if there's like an aerial. Yeah. So that stair tower or elevator tower comes up above, and that's clad with, it's not wood, it's actually an engineered wood product. So basically it would be clad to a backup wall that would be at a metal stud, at a metal stud.
Okay. And so that extends above the stair tower? Or the elevator? Wait. is
Yeah,
the
it
stair
extends,
elevator?
what happens is that, I believe, God, that's the elevator tower. The elevator tower extends up above, there is a bulkhead, but architecturally what we did was we extended it up further to encapsulate, and screen the other elements.
Okay, so go back to the plan view.
So what you're
It's
seeing
in the
is,
little-
you're seeing that elevator bulkhead. And,
Only I can see.
right, so that's the generator.
Okay, so there's a couple of steps up from the roof that bring you to a platform,
Correct,
and that's where the generator is.
that's right.
And so the steps are exposed, but they bring you, the platform is enclosed.
Correct.
Okay. And how high is the screen wall there? Or how high is that?
Screen wall, well, that would be on the elevation. We actually did put a lot of thought into this.
There it is, okay.
It would be, it would show up at the very top there. From the roof, so that's, what is that, say, 8 feet?
From the roof.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm sorry, pan the other way. South. A little more. Okay, and so what are those? Right there where your hand
So
is?
those are the split systems, and those are set way back. Now, you were seeing them at elevation, but your line of sight will be well cut off from them, because they're well into, if you look at the roof plan,
So from the street view, they won't be.
they won't be visible.
So when I am, okay, so here. Okay, and then, all right, so go back to plan view. Sorry. Okay, and so you went upstairs, up the steps to that platform. What's the thing to the right?
That's the elevator.
So that's just around the, okay, so that's how so even though there are two different elevations, you've got the wall going around at a uniform height?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. Everybody with us? Okay. But, all right, and then, so these other elements on the roof, you have the split systems,
Yeah, those are like the little condensing units.
right? And then the larger ones are, well, how tall are
I don't
the,
believe that.
are the condensing units, the little ones?
Condensing units are like 2.5 feet,
Okay.
roughly.
So we wouldn't even see those over the parapet?
Correct.
Even if we were at this same elevation?
Yeah, it's,
Yeah. So then, why in the elevation drawing were we seeing stuff in the distance? What were those split systems? They seem much higher than 2.5 feet. Yeah, those guys.
Am I correct that there are many splits that are 2.5 feet? They won't be visible from looking up at the building. Am I correct?
that's right.
So I just want to make sure these other things that he's
Yeah.
showing in the distance on the roof
Yeah, well, we don't
are
we
still
don't
higher than,
Yeah, we don't have a 2.5 foot parapet in this case. The parapets are a little bit lower.
But irrespective, you're not going to see those mini splits.
No.
Correct?
Okay, so then what are those things that we are seeing?
There might be a couple other units that service the
Common stuff.
the common space, and those will be screened. We'll screen those.
And those should be in the center, so
Yeah, I mean,
they're at the,
Yeah. The
And
thing
they
is,
are.
we're gonna start having, taller buildings in this area, stuff on the other side of, the firehouse.
Well, if you have
No, we
taller
don't want
buildings
them to be
looking down,
visible.
there's
Yeah.
nothing you can do.
Well, we can do screening.
you screen them.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that has to be added to this so that we can see that it's being screened.
And then, so the generator, is it within a housing, or is it just that screen wall that you're building?
it's within a screen wall. But generators today, they are in their own enclosure.
They can be. What size? Have you sized it yet? And is it just for common space, or what is the purpose of the generator?
Yeah, it's mostly just common space. I can check and see what size it is, I'm not sure.
I don't recall.
I can look, it'll take a little while.
No, just so that we understand, it's not like the whole building's gonna be running if there's a power outage.
Oh, no. No.
It's emergency equipment, elevators, and common, okay.
I guess 80 kV.
And it'll be tested like once a week? They do the.
Exercise it, yeah.
Does that really make
And-
sense? Donna?
What?
Just the common space is going to be serviced by the generators? I mean, there's a power
For
outage.
elevator.
Well, it's also life safety.
Yeah, it's life safety stuff, I mean, you've gotta operate the elevators,
I understand that, but you're putting in a backup generator. Shouldn't the whole building be on the generator?
oh my god.
Oh, that would be an enormous generator. I don't think you can service the whole thing with the gas
It would take
generator.
the whole roof. It's not usually feasible to do something like that for something this big.
but the original plans didn't have generators.
Didn't have a generator.
Good.
Okay, so, back to the report. So for the garage ventilation, so we're talking about the garage doors that we may, go to a solid or nearly solid opening now.
The garage doors are on the generator.
Well,
Are you still gonna be
yeah.
okay for ventilation with
Well,
the
that
screen
was,
valves?
now that you mentioned that. So what we're proposing here is a passive ventilated garage, which means that it has to have a certain percentage of openness.
And does it?
It does now.
Does it now with the solid door?
I'm not sure. I have to go back and look at that calculation.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
So if it doesn't, then, we can also do partial mechanical ventilation
No,
if need be. But
I'm sure you'll figure it out.
So where's it open, the garage?
yeah, their openings are on both sides that have,
That wall you were looking at, those are,
So it's a screening.
Ventilation.
It's open above?
well, it has.
it has a screens.
decorative
It has
metal
like a
panel that's
decorative metal
Oh,
screens. Yeah.
I just have a quick question. Wouldn't it be an option to have doors that have less openings, but still wouldn't require you to do partial mechanical
I
ventilation?
just have to see if we calculate it and how much of that was calculated into the square footage equation of the openness.
Yeah,
It was pretty close.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Jen, that I would prefer what you're saying.
It seems like a shame to add partial ventilation just because the garage door is important, but there are different kinds of screening they could do that would make sure the light's not hitting. Like there's material options, right? That could.
We'll work with that and see
Yeah.
what we can do.
Okay. As you know, the concern is for the residents. Okay.
Well, my first instinct was just put a solid door in. But
I
then when we
understand, but
started to
there are
talk about
implications
it,
to doing that. So, okay. Anything else, Don?
So I'm on page 14. And I just want to make sure, from what I'm remembering from the testimony. Yeah, okay, that's good. So as far as green building design, we're not going to incorporate any of the elements that the plan recommends. We're still going to be no solar, no green roof.
Well, if you consider the amenity deck, there will be some green.
And not LEED certified.
Yeah, I actually did not remember that there had been an exception for all of this. That's what it says here. I didn't remember that. It seems unusual. But
There had been some testimony from the landscape architect originally about trying to do some green roof in the amenity deck. And there was a problem with, I guess it could not get to, I think Jim, didn't you say something about, because it was discharging to Wesley Lake, there was some sort of problem with that connection?
That was Ian. I'm not gonna say his name.
yeah, no,
Drove
that
us-
was a separate thing. Yeah,
He drove us crazy.
yes, it was a public comment related, but it wasn't based in any science.
But there was some stuff about, because it was a dog park area,
Yes.
and they can't separate out the
Yes.
urine and the whatnot.
That was a public comment.
Yeah, okay.
But I don't understand how that, I didn't think that ended up being, everything from green building design was an exception, a design exception in terms of all, that's what it says.
We always look at sustainable products, recycled products. Most of the interior and exterior, we use recycled products or certified forestry type products. We do, design and keep in mind sustainability, even if it's not LEED certified in terms of energy efficiency and things of that nature.
HVAC, are the unit, because it's, I know you're not to that level yet, but the energy efficiency in terms of the units?
Yeah, yes.
So you're using efficient, like shower heads, water saving features like that in the units, fixtures?
I'm not sure if we got.
Yeah, I haven't really specified those
I'm gonna
yet.
say they're not gonna meet the threshold then.
Well-
At this point, they're not specifying it, so. We have had other applications come in where they weren't gonna actually get LEED certification, but they were doing the checklist.
Right.
Is there a chance of at least, we understand LEED certification is
Very
expensive,
difficult.
complicated.
But what's it called?
But they have a checklist, you could still do stuff
Well,
from the list and not pursue actual certification.
Well, the amenity deck, I think, helps towards that. We'll take a look, we can take a look. at the-
So,
But
one-
it's the appliances, it's the lighting,
well, yeah, all lighting now is LED. It's all energy efficient.
and interior.
Interior, that's what and exterior as well. Parking garage, the appliances are all
Energy Star.
Energy Star.
But there's a name for this, for them to, I don't know what the name of that is, that we want. Well, is that a checklist that we have?
Oh, you're thinking about energy.
Well, that's
Energy
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 Star. But one of the things that we are looking into is what's called the Aspire program, and it's a state program that it's like for economic development, and it helps with the financing. But their guidelines have a checklist for energy efficiency materials, and you can either do LEED, or it doesn't have to be necessarily LEED, but basically all the elements that are in LEED, and we are looking to go for that.
So you're considering Aspire, you're seriously considering that?
Yes.
Yeah, listen,
It's
the
something
bottom
to-
line is, when it comes to trying to get these projects to pencil out, it's not easy, especially when you're adding 20% affordable as is required. The numbers get very tight, and when you're asking or you're looking for energy efficiency that goes beyond, ordinarily what you're going to do, or LEED certification, it gets extremely expensive. The Aspire program does help with that. And if those funds are available, excuse me, a program that goes through the UCA, those funds are available, the additional funds that are provided to help build the building, that can then help towards offsetting some of the costs for the energy efficiency and the.
And you have to meet those metrics
Yeah.
in order to get the financing.
That's what I was saying, I mean, there are state, I mean, it's required for a lot of states, so
But
if you go
that's
to
the
the program.
thing, the reason they offer those programs, they acknowledge
Yes.
and they understand how expensive it can get. And which is great because they've created a program that to be able to help trying to get these buildings done that are, meeting certain standards.
Right, that's what we're saying, because since they are available, that's why we want to see them used. And I just want to, for the record, say LEED, I mean, certain levels of LEED is not always more expensive. Some levels of LEED are more expensive. So there are things that can be done that aren't always more expensive.
To the extent that we can,
Materials,
we'll
so
look into it, what can be done. But certainly if we get those Aspire funding, it'll certainly help going towards.
Is the project going to fail if you don't get the Aspire funding? I mean, just because, we approved this 4 years ago, and all I see is rubble. So if we approve this, are you guys saying right now, if we don't get Aspire, look at this rubble for another 4 years?
No, I think we can do it without Aspire, but it's much easier with Aspire.
It's tighter in terms of, how we pencil out the project, but as Steve had indicated, it's still a feasible project.
Well, and there may be things that, again, check the lists. There
And
may
we'll take a
be
look at it.
elements that,
There
at
are
least
no-
check the box for
There's
us.
no cost elements. I mean, that's what we're just at. Some elements are no cost, but it's a
Yeah, I mean,
checklist.
I mean, can you even
Most-
buy
a
a
lot of it-
non-Energy Star appliance these days?
Yeah, I mean, there are a
They all
lot,
have some rating.
a lot of those things on the list are things that we typically would do.
Right, that's what we want, I mean, that's one part, is that we want to just,
I mean, we'd
right now
rather
we
be
have
there if
no,
it's solar, but.
no way to acknowledge what you are doing already. So that's one part. And two, we would like to see, and we have no idea, only what you just said, which is testimony now, so that helps. But until that moment, we didn't know what was going in that would be considered green design. And we would love to see more, but.
We understand the realities.
Yes.
Okay, so then I just want to quickly jump to the affordable. These are family units, not age restricted. I'm sorry, we may have to cross witness here, but family units, not age restricted, they're rental, not for sale. Okay. And we will need to see the compliance with the units that are assigned to which level of affordability,
Low,
bedroom
medium.
distributions, like we've done before in others.
The city would be the administrative agent, I anticipate.
Correct. I know, and again, this may not be you, but we didn't talk a bit about construction phasing. This is a huge major. Steve, can you address? Okay, because obviously we're gonna have closed sidewalks, we're gonna have.
Yeah, and what I'll do, as I've done before, I'll work with the client in getting the plan together before we come back.
Okay. Is there anything particular that we need to be cognizant of or advise?
We just need a staging plan, and usually what we've been doing is having a setup meeting with me before your construction meeting, just so I could review it and let you know if there's anything I think needs to be changed.
Is there a particular route that might be problematic? We're gonna prioritize one street over another, or just to give them a heads up?
Yeah, you use the major routes into town for all your vehicles. Asbury Avenue.
Well, yeah, it's always the trucks coming in and out, of course. But yeah, I mean, it depends. It depends on what we're proposing. Maybe avoid Bangs Avenue, but we can talk about that when you get a staging plan.
Okay.
It's premature right now.
Okay.
Is the administration of the affordable units, I think that was a condition originally of the original approval.
Yeah, the
There'll be
original
a
plan
second
wasn't
one.
fully compliant, so they needed to, so now that they have new layouts,
Right, but they
it's
still have.
still outstanding, so.
I just want to make sure that it's still in there.
So there's 15 affordable. Do you have the breakdown, how many 1s, 2s, and 3s?
Yes, it's on the plans.
25 before.
25.
25 in total.
25, so do you, how many ones, how many twos, how many threes?
Well, we need more detail than that.
But it's a start.
Yes. It is a start.
On page 4 of the CCH report, when you list the amenities, you make reference to a bar. Does somebody hold a liquor license?
Thank you.
You don't need it. You're not selling retail.
Oh, well, you can have a bar?
You can't, in a private building, you can. If you're not operating a bar selling retail, that's something different. You can have private parties in there and private residents.
Okay, I understand. But the indication here is that there is a bar.
Are you talking about a bar, like in one of the commercial spaces?
No. On the amenity deck, there's an outdoor grill.
Building 901, page 4.
It's not that kind of bar.
You don't need, yeah, but it's not a
I want to
public
make
bar.
sure that.
All right, get him on the record to say it. It's not that kind of bar.
One thing I do know about is alcohol.
You come low can it?
What else you got,
It's gotta be by
Jim?
law,
Anything else?
but it's gotta be by law.
No, okay.
Yeah, there's we were just looking on page 7 where you show for, that's for, I'm sorry, for the affordable. Oh, I'm sorry, where can we see what the breakdown is on the affordable?
Yeah, that's parking.
That's parking, yeah. Where can we see the breakdown? How many, 3 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, 1 bedroom? Because I don't see it in here.
Yeah, there you go.
We know there are 25, we just don't know.
So on page.
Here?
Cover sheet of the site plan.
So on building 900, real quick, we have 4 one-bedroom, 3 two-bedrooms, and 2 three-bedroom units.
And that's on the 900.
That's on the 900.
Not 901?
901, we have 12 two-bedrooms and 4 three-bedrooms.
Am I correct? The one bedrooms do not exceed 20%, correct?
Correct. I believe so.
Okay, so that's
You
different
had-
from what we had in our set.
All right, so that's updated,
Yeah, because you had compliance.
different, okay.
So what you said before, you were correcting, so what's on the site plan is different, right? That shows the 7 and 18.
That's correct.
All right. Anything else? Because we're going to be coming back with a number of items for.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I
our
have the list of
architect.
items to address. I have balconies, garage doors, the energy efficiency of the project, staging plan, and the affordable breakdown.
And we need the view, I'm going to ask for the west side view,
West side view?
because we don't know what that's going to look like with the new balconies. Let's see. I know that there's more, we need,
I have a bunch of lighting
Yeah,
questions.
you have some
We never
things.
got to lighting.
okay. You're going to show us where the, well, we know where the additional bike storage is. You're going to be putting the wheel stops in. You're going to show us, put them on the plans. Is there anything else, Donna, that you have to see outside of the new plans? From December versus May?
I won't know till I see it.
Right, but it would be May. I mean, you're gonna.
But just from our conversation so far tonight, I think we've addressed a lot of this, but yeah.
Yeah, so you need all those modifications
them,
put in
yeah.
here, so you can write a new report.
And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna have our landscape architect reach out to you.
Okay, good.
So in the event there are any issues with the plan.
Are you gonna do a revision before you come back? Or like, should I revise these December plans or review the December plans?
Yeah,
Or are you gonna
don't-
come back with a revised plan?
Shouldn't you come back with something new so that she can take a look at it and then do
Yeah, we'll get you.
Do another
use
report?
plans, so at least you have them,
Okay,
and then we'll get you the updated
we'll
plans.
get an updated plan.
That way you
Okay.
can compare the two.
Well, the report should be,
On the
well, the
latest.
report should be on, not these plans, whatever the new plans are, of everything we discussed.
Okay.
And
So-
in addition to what was discussed, the original approval requirements, conditions should be incorporated in those new plans.
Not necessarily.
Well,
Some of it's being,
Some
some
will, some of the
Yeah.
conditions are ongoing and outstanding, but they wouldn't be part of the plan.
But there are a lot of
They'll
those
remain as
conditions
existing
that should be
conditions.
shown on the plans where
Where some that
dimensions.
are, we discussed, and some
I don't
that-
have the,
We got a lot of conditions.
yeah.
Of original approval that may or may not have been met yet. If they haven't, the resolution compliance will be coming from the engineer's office and under the new system. Anything that is continuing, for example, something in the county or something like that.
Sure, I understand.
We wouldn't put it in the plan, but it's in this resolution, this original resolution. And it's still outstanding and it's still subject to compliance, it still has to be compliant. So, the main, everything will be covered, either within the plans, revised, or within the old resolution that's still valid, that's continuing in nature.
Just for efficiency's sake, I know we haven't heard from landscape architect yet, but in that conversation that you're just saying you would have prior with Donna, right? That we did spend a lot of time on the pedestrian plazas. So it'd probably be more efficient to, I mean, it's hard to tell what's been incorporated at this point, and that without Donna's input, I want to make sure that the pedestrian plazas on the ground are looked at carefully.
Which is, can I assume that's what was approved? You want to make sure that's, or the changes that we approved? Not today, but there's nothing new from today.
No, there's nothing new today.
This is all that everything that we had originally approved is incorporated. That's what you're saying?
If I remember correctly, the pedestrian walkways, everything along Memorial, the county went back and forth with the applicant a number of times, but keep coming back. So if you're revising this, you better make sure you get the county in line. with what you're
We
doing.
haven't touched the county, anything within the county, it's just been so, it was such a challenge that we left that untouched.
But, and that's,
It's in the
I think
old
that's my
resolution.
question, because have we seen what the county approved?
we haven't received what the county approved from the original.
Right, that's what I'm asking.
There is a discrepancy between what the board wanted
And what the
and
county
what the
approved.
county would approve.
Right, that's why, but we have not seen what the county approved.
Well, what's on the latest civil plan set is what the county.
Okay. But Donna hasn't reviewed that, right?
I think the civil plan set is,
Well,
you have the latest of that.
My report describes how it differentiates between the two.
But we have not
from that
discussed that
December
today.
22 plan. And that's what the county approval was based on.
So are there changes that we have to hear this evening?
There will be changes that should be more, descriptively described to you guys so that you understand what those changes are.
That's what, we just didn't talk about it tonight.
We didn't hear about it.
That's all I'm getting.
But I just want to make sure that we're on the same page. You're talking about along Memorial, what the county required?
What the county allowed as far as the planters.
Okay, you're
And
gonna, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna come up when we have our landscape architect provide testimony.
And are you prepared to have that to this evening?
I can bring her up now, we got time.
All right, we're not done here yet. So let's,
Can we take a 5-minute break?
I know, hang on, we're not done with this phase yet.
We need to burst.
Okay, but when we come back, we're gonna come back with board questions, professional questions, public questions
Why don't we hold off until the next hearing?
for our landscape? Okay, all right, so let's take 5 anyway, because we need to still hear from our public, and we still need to continue, so can we just take 5? Please?
So moved.
All right,
All in favor?
Second,
Okay.
we'll be right back.
Questions?
All right, we have to say that we're back in session, or whatever legally we have to do here?
I just have to take a quick roll call.
All right, take a roll call.
James Bonanno.
Here.
Jim Henry.
Here.
Mayor John Moore.
Here.
Daniel Shinameo. Jen Souter.
Here.
Chairwoman Barbara Kurzak.
Here. All right. Am I correct in that there is nothing more to present?
No, I think we're done for tonight.
Okay.
We're going to come back with some revised plans taking into consideration the board's comments.
Okay, we still have to have, I feel we still have to go through the questions through the public.
Sure.
So if we could do that. So any other questions from the planning board members? No. Any other questions from our professionals that we have not covered today? Any questions from our public based on what was presented by our architect and planner at times? Go ahead, introduce yourself,
I
please.
just want to clarify that there's been a decision, or you've decided that you're removing the balconies from the west side of 900 and kind of...
Speak in the mic.
901.
And we'll come back with a plan to show those revisions.
Okay.
Speak in the mic,
Also-
please, Yvonne. Into the mic.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, next question is the generator. You can assure me that when it kicks in, I'm not going to hear it?
Well, it'll meet all like the noise criteria of the state. I don't know, there are prescribed decibel levels that are allowed or that are by code. We are enclosing it. I can't say that nothing will be heard. I don't know.
But there will be some sound attenuation.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Okay.
It'll be also on vibration isolation, isolators on the roof itself.
And the garage, the parking garage. Headlights, spillage, it's not going to meet the residents across the street. It's,
There won't be any direct headlights now, because we do have a bulkhead that's above the level of headlights for any, head-on parking. And then there's going to be some grill work also on the openings, which is.
okay. And I noticed that there are a number of 2 bedrooms and 3 bedrooms, but no 1 bedrooms?
There are 1 bedrooms.
There are 1 bedrooms? Oh, okay, sorry. And can I ask you about construction?
Sure.
All right. Is the construction going to be simultaneous for both buildings, or is it going to be one and then the second?
It'll be simultaneous.
Okay. And do you know how you're going to do the staging?
We're going to come back with a plan.
Okay.
So by the next meeting, we'll have a staging plan, setting forth the streets that are going to be, where the fencing is going to go around the site, deliveries, where that's going to take place.
That's it for now. Thank you.
Okay.
Just before he gets up, to Yvonne's question about the generator and the noise, come back with the size at the next meeting. Don't say we don't know what size, because the bigger the generator, the more the noise.
Yes, we do have a size, I just don't recall.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else from the public that would like to ask some questions?
Just a couple.
Okay.
Yeah, Steve Ruddy, 919 Madison Avenue. I don't see, there's 12 balconies looking down on my property. I don't see why anyone would want to look at that. But so I appreciate that. I do have a question about the 6-foot fences. I mean, the first thing someone does with a fence they can't see through or over is to look over it. And 6 feet, if I wear cowboy boots, I'm looking over that fence. And I'm no giant. So I was wondering about that, if that's high enough. Are they looking into my window? Am I looking into their windows? And then the other thing was just basic, trash from those first floor, well, they're more like garden patios. So I'm concerned about that.
What is your concern about trash?
Getting thrown on my lawn. Also sound noise, my sound noise. I got a stereo system out there. No one cared because no one was in the side of me, no one was in the back of me, and the people next door don't care.
There's a super that's going to take care of the building, is that correct? There will be superintendents, take care of the building, the outside, ensuring that it's all maintained properly, am I correct?
So there'll be someone I can talk to? All right, cool. I guess that's it for now. I do have many construction questions, but I'll wait until, when's the next meeting?
We're going to decide that tonight.
Bada boom, okay.
Motion to close.
No, motion to close public?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, did we come with a date, Marie?
Date options that
Date options that we have?
that are available, based on deadlines that you would have to have everything to us. Everything would need to be submitted to us by April 1st for the May 6th meeting. And everything would need to be submitted to us by the 15th of April for the May 20th meeting.
And both are open to you, so whatever.
Give me the date for submission on May 6th.
Sure. May 6th, everything needs to be in by April 1st. And then May 20th, everything would need to be in by April 15th. And if those dates don't work,
All right, why don't we do May 6th, and then we'll get everything submitted by April 1st.
Does that work for everyone?
Okay. All right, we need a motion to carry with no further notice to May 6th. So once again, no further notice. You won't be getting anything in the mail.
So moved.
May 6th in this room at 7 p.m.
May 6th, this room, 7 p.m. Okay?
So
Jim did it, I'll second.
Good. Very good, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
James Bonanno?
Yes.
Jim Henry?
yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Daniel Shinameo? Jen Souter?
Yes.
Barbara Kurzak?
Yes. Motion to close?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.